Hi, welcome back guys. This is your friend, the What If Guy, back with another fanfiction. This is the first part of What If Issei Became Dragon Like Superhuman. Now before starting, please give this video a like, and subscribe to the channel if you want more videos like this. Now let's get into the fanfic. Still though, Issei, it's our second week. We have to do something to get the girls' attention. Issei rolled his eyes, reading a book about electrical engineering. Really, Madohama? I'm not getting my ass kicked again. You want to do something stupid like that again? Go do it. Just do it without me. The teenager, Issei, had a scrawny build with brown messy hair that had two bangs coming out from the left and right and brown eyes. His non-school attire consisted of gray-green shirt under a dark gray hoodie. He also wore blue jeans, black socks, and gray shoes. Madohama looked flabbergasted at Issei, looking down on the brunette that sat on the bench. What the hell are you saying? Issei, come on, don't you want to? Just shut it, Madohama. I don't have time for this. Issei stood up, upset. Being taller than him, his glare proved more intimidating, especially when they were alone in the park at the later hours. The park covered a wide area that could fit about a couple houses. There were benches for people to sit in every corner and jogging tracks were all around the edges of the park. The playground was also very attractive to many children used to come and play. Really? Do you only? He stopped, took a breath and started talking calmly. I'm not peeking again, he spoke quietly. It's my first year and I got in on pure luck. My parents are. Dude, Issei shook his head. I'm sorry, it's just my parents aren't too happy with me right now. And the stress from all of these tests are piling up on me, my bad. It's fine, I shouldn't have done you know what. It's just those girls terrify and enchant me, Madohama said. But it's all worth it. Hahaha. Issei couldn't help but laugh at that. It was pretty funny to listen to. Haha. But, in all serious business, I heard that you got into some of the higher classes. Is Gremory there? Issei nodded at that and responded with a smile. Gremory? Nah, I don't think so. He actually seemed a mix between jealous and curious. Is she going to be there? Please say yes. You should have seen that rack. Issei shrugged, though he had the faintest trace of a lustful expression of his face. Of course I saw those booby. Wait, no. I don't think so. Besides, I don't really like her all that much. She's too odd for me. What does it matter even? What? He seemed like he heard the impossible. What? I'll just pretend I never heard that. Yeah, sure. Anyway, I gotta do something, Madohama. I'll see you later. Issei said. He walked off while. See ya. See you later, Issei. Madohama responded and gave a quick goodbye wave. Issei looked up. It was still day. He knew it would suck ass if he upset more of his teachers. But that class was hard, and Issei struggled quite a bit with it. Still though, they can try to be nice to me. Just I made some mistakes, why hate me for those? Issei looked forward, noticing that it was starting to get dark really quick. He embarked on the stone pathway. He walked along the trees and was starting to get home. Too bad he was a large distance. While going along the sidewalk, he passed an alleyway. My-oh. He looked to the side, a cat being there. It has no collar, and it looks dirty. A homeless cat. Issei looked at the small gray cat. It meowed continuously. It looked at Issei with some sort of look. A feisty yet not one. Who knows, I'm not a cat expert. Wow, you're skinny, aren't you? Like really skinny. Issei noted to the cat, slowly approaching. The cat took a step backwards but held its ground. Hey, come on, kitty. He raised his hand and I come in peace. Signed. The cat looked at Issei with its catty eyes. You hungry, boy? Meow. Okay, girl. Meow. So yes, I'm not a cat expert, so please realize I did. Then why don't you just find some food? You can't find any, so you're a stray, huh? Meow. Issei looked down, but I really can't help you. I have to get home. Damned, you are cute, but I really can't help. Issei shrugged and left the cat there. He really didn't care for it all that much. It was just a cat. Though I do feel bad, maybe I should know. I have things I need to do first and quickly. Issei nodded. He had to go back home. First to prepare and maybe watch some stuff in private. Very private. He wanted to leave the cat, not care about it at all. Issei looked at the cat as it was. To be honest, he was a bit tempted. But he wanted to do some things first. Why help something out when he shouldn't have to? Oh, let me see. Issei checked his pockets for anything the kitty might have, anything the kitty might want to eat. Eventually, he realized he had nothing. Looking down, he felt somewhat bad. I'm sorry, kitty. The cat looked saddened. Look, if I have time I'll come back tomorrow for you. So stay here, okay? I may be back soon tomorrow. He felt bad for the cat and promised to get him something tomorrow, though he was eager to get home as it was starting to get late. Really, talking to Madohama about things took some more time off than expected. Another day of Kyo Academy. Issei's thoughts were displeased as he had to return to the school. He walked past the black fence and the white bricked wall. He most certainly had to enter the gate once more. Walking alone, he almost reached the doors of the white-painted school. Students looked at him with a certain gaze. Great, it seems only a couple of mistakes earns you the ire of everyone. Look at them all. I've only seen this look when a cat likes someone else than their owner more. Issei was already used to it. He honestly didn't care all that much anymore. He kept his distance and thought up today's plan. Grab what's necessary, go to the best class, which is, of course, chemistry and electrical engineering, do the rest and head home at the end of the day. As Issei went to his first period he smirked. Flawless plan. But still there could be some things that could go wrong. In that case, I have no plan if things would go wrong. Just make it out whole inside this hecking hole. It took some, but the checklist was quickly filled. How did PE go, you might ask? Oh my god. Ugh. Issei panted heavily as he was forced to sprint around in the morning, doing circles. Who made me do this? 34 runarounds for the guys. Hehhh. Issei almost stumbled in his gym clothes, the white becoming stained by sweat. He was around the middle of the group of kids in his class. The girls were sitting on the bench, somewhat tired though amused as they saw the group of first-year males running around the school's large track field. Look at Hayato, panting like a fat middle-aged man. Shut up, he panted. Hayato, stop running like a fat little girl and stop being tired. I hate PE. It sucks. Like I can stop being tired. There are processes that I have no control over, like fatigue toxins in blood. And, besides his internal rant, the rest was the same old ever since he started here. He walked in the white hallways, past the photos of clubs and straight into the next class. Yet, even as he walked he saw those damned stares. Those damned whispers. They sneered or looked down on us as he walked past. Natsuda, look at what you did, you went too far with that one. If I didn't stop Madohama, who knew how much worse it would have gotten? Issei shrugged it off, the stares and those murmurs. Issei quit that stupid behavior, though it was upsetting and quite frustrating that everybody just shunned him. What can I even do about it? What's it even matter anyway? Those stupid stares. Heck, I even reckon they don't care. Like they all just want someone to hate. I guess most people do. Though he sneered discreetly, he was still very upset. Hell, they're all jerks. Who needs them anyway? Definitely not me. Heck no. Issei went down to his favorite class. Since he did not have any classes with Madohama, they did not see much of one another anyway. Though they were still friends, that much was clear to the world. With Madohama, who still seemed to want to continue the antics, though to a lesser extent. He entered the classroom, first of the bunch. He sat at the wooden desk, grabbed everything out of his bag and laid it neatly on his table. He put his gray backpack next to his seat. Class, come on. Let's get this show on the road. He was very eager for his favorite class. Chemistry, heck yes, he almost whispered in excitement. He loved it. This class was his second favorite. Eventually, a somewhat old man came in. He brushed his graying hair out of his face as he smiled at the now full classroom. Everyone sat at their table. The students looked on with decent attention. Today, class, we'll be learning about chemical processes necessary for life to exist. You'll learn about substances like carbohydrates, fats, proteins, and the nucleic acids that make up the genetic code, he said calmly, and any respect or attention was lost at those two sentences. Ugh, this class again. I hate this. Yeah, tell me. What do I even need to know this hash and % for? Look at that balding head, it's all the way to Tokyo. They started to talk quite loudly. The teacher only released a sigh, someone that Issei had quite some sympathy for, and some scorn for his classmates. Honestly, am I the only one that gives a damn about this class? I mean, I get that it can be boring. I mean, look at the teacher. He looks so freaking tired it seems that his favorite chicken died. Nonetheless, the man started to talk further, and Issei listened with rapt attention. In the class, not so much. He watched with bright big Aldo eyes and an eager smile as the teacher started to talk. His interest and excitement was very apparent. Now, we'll be starting off with something easy. Microbes exist in overwhelming numbers and unparalleled diversity, and we now appreciate their profound impact on the planet and on human health and disease. The human body contains over 10 times more microbial cells than human cells, with members of the human microbiome being implicated in a multitude of conditions: diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis, muscular dystrophy, and more. If it wasn't for Issei's interest in this subject, he too would be dropping in boredom from the long explanation. Alas, no matter how boring it sounded, interest and intrigue can always override boredom. As the lecture went on, the class went into more disarray. No one cared about this class. The blonde one in the corner was loudly talking with their friends, doing a bad job at being secretive about the whole thing. So this is so cool. I knew this was the right path to take, heck yes. All of a sudden, the teacher spoke very loud. I see, so, since none of you seem to care, let me see if you all know the material, like it seems to be. Because I cannot fathom another reason why you're all acting like this. The teacher suddenly grabbed everyone's attention with his loud words and different body language. He gazed over the classroom and asked a simple question. Now, I want one of you to answer this. What type of chemical bond results from the sharing of valence electrons between atoms? I think I know this one. Issei quickly raised his hand. With a nod, he was given permission to talk. The formula unit. I'm sorry, but your WR. Prep. It was covalent bonds, wasn't it? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, totes that. Issei told the teacher, scratching the back of his head at his overeager answer. It made him give the wrong one angrily. Please let this one be right. Kiwati, please. It would be embarrassing if I got this one wrong. Crap, I probably got this one wrong, did I not? Maybe. Who knows? After all, it could be correct. But still, maybe not. The class looked at Issei with surprised face. The hell, is that weirdo actually knowledgeable or something? You are actually correct, Mr. Hayato. But please, refrain from interrupting me again. Oh, yeah, sure. Issei chuckled awkwardly at that. Still though, I already love this class. Pharmaceutical Research Laboratory. The newly hired interns or workers would describe their laboratory as clean, efficient, and organized. What they wouldn't say was all the things that. There was great teamwork hidden among some of them. But the best, the most effective, worked for themselves. And they were the most brilliant. They all had PhDs. They were all brilliant. But the greatest of them were alone. To be specific, this was a research laboratory. The researchers barely talked to one another and worked in silence as they drew pipettes of fluid from one tiny tube and transferred them to others. Looked through microscope and such things. The small sounds of sentient beings was like a soft whisper in the background to them. Scalpels and syringes were their favorites and most needed for the project they were working on. Across the wall were windows revealing a view across the city towers and spires that could only be described as stunning, but the scientists appeared not to notice, transfixed as they were by their experiments. Yes, sir, our testing on other animals have been very beneficial in analyzing which genes and traits are best compatible with our efforts to recreate it. Which genes work with it and which don't, a voice told his superior. As of now, we had a breakthrough, a major one. Really now? Please, show it to me, was politely asked. The other man nodded to his superior and led him to a certain container. There were animals present too, and as such, they were the most important. They were all in their own small little boxes that contained the animals. They all had various states that they were in, from dead to horribly disfigured to having strange mutations. We've been testing repeatedly which animal shows to most promise, isolating which genes and qualities actually work with our prototype antidote. We've had quite some success, as all of the animals have shown some positive reactions to the antidote. That's good. Before they all died. That is not good. The man put his hands behind his back and calmly gazed before him. We have gotten major compensation before we even remade it. We need to have positive results. Anything else I should know? And please, tell me everything. Well, there is one animal that had several mutations. It shows promise, much of it. Good, and why not mention this at first? Because it's showcasing odd behavior, sir. Though mutated, it has several imperfections. He pointed to one of the containers, which contained a small reptilian-like creature. Its walking legs were odd and different than it was supposed to be. It looked reptilian most of all with its scales. It had a small tail that could probably extend. If you looked closely, it also did not have pedipalps. It was an arthropod, for sure, though it was definitely no creature ever seen before. It moved around, gazing with instinctive curiosity. We think it might dying or something akin to that, though we do not have a proper answer yet. Besides, we think its own vastly mutated DNA is killing itself. We think when it passes its own body would decompose rapidly. It's so mutated that it is not even the same creature anymore, basically an entirely new one. The scientist was about ready to finish it off. We suspect that it may pass away in a day or two, if we're lucky. It's dying. Well then, make sure to study that animal carefully. Gather samples and attempt to figure it out. You can do this, all of you can. I know it. Thank you, sir. After he left, the scientist gazed for a couple of seconds at the creature. Just don't try to hide or run away, okay, pal? It just looked forward casually. The scientist merely smiled, but noticed something odd. Some of his coworkers were gone. What happened? He started to get a bit more drowsy. Why is everything so soft? He hit the floor unconscious. The next day, 5:30 p.m. The following day, Issei was walking around, minding his own business. Something he had tried to do at school. Yet still, people seemed to hate his guts. He liked this, not the being hated part, but the being by himself or with a very select few of people he could trust part. The street he was walking at was pretty popular. Listening to music, he passed by a couple of restaurants to fast food businesses down. It was a decently popular spot for students. Issei walked down the street, his lips were somewhat curled downward and his eyes too. He held his phone in his hand and had his earphones in. His body hunched over ever so slightly as he walked, scrolling down some random site. Today went less than well. Damn, I feel so shit already. Issei tried to shrug off the thoughts, attempting to mind his own business. Just cause Madohama did that, they lumped me in with him too. Crap. Issei started to feel a bit more annoyed. I mean, it's just my first year. I haven't even been in that school for 5 months and everybody hates me. Sheesh. Issei decided to let himself calm down, sitting down and putting his phone away. He fiddled with his thumbs as he put his earphones away in his pocket. He thought about what had happened. It was just unfair. In his eyes, and, wait a minute, is someone talking about me? Wait, is that him? He heard a voice say. Curiously, he looked up with his own brown eyes. Got him it, Murayama and Kades or Kades and Murayama. Which one is which again? The two female school students, along with a few of their friends, had clearly noticed him. They were not wearing their school clothes and were clearly hanging out of their friends. Great, as if I don't have enough things on my plate. What next? A giant teddy bear that steals my clothes. He thought tiredly. He already felt pretty bad today. Do they really have to add it? Hey, how do? Issei sighed as they walked up to him. What are you doing here? Just minding my own business. He muttered somewhat quietly. He looked at them with an expectant gaze. Yeah, as if. Disgust was evident from her tone as she looked at the scrawny teenager before her. What are you really doing here? Tell me the truth. You're a weirdo, you know that, right? Who doesn't, really? Kades agreed with the look her friend gave, making Issei feel pretty bad. It felt like something heavy in his gut. He didn't really know what it was, but it made him feel pretty bad. I mean, after what you've done, who the hell would want to be around you? Her voice sounded stern and certainly had some loathing in it. They didn't like him after he pulled that stupid stunt. A real stupid one, and now everyone doesn't like me. Well, like is a weak word for the situation. So is this what you came here for? The young teen vocalized. To do this. Issei sounded pretty weird, so they just shook their hands at the odd tone of his voice. Gosh, I hate girl clicks. You're a weirdo, one called him. Issei shook his head, kept it low and walked away. He didn't really like those looks. He just shrugged, thought the words they still annoyed him. A really weird guy. I mean, who the $$? He had his backpack slung over his shoulders with the zipper slightly open, and decided to go to another spot. He walked a bit further even as he heard their stupid murmurs. Though, he decided to say one last thing. Remember, a sharp tongue is no indication of a keen mind, bitch. He murmured the last part, though he was vocal about everything before that. He heard some gasps but shrugged. What the hell is wrong with them? Some stupid choices, and now I'm a weirdo teens and just caused a gh. Issei had a scowl as he walked past a few buildings even as the scrawny teenager just looked down. Still though, I had no luck finding the cat. Damn, and I even got some tuna for it in my backpack. Eventually, he passed a big building. With nothing to do, he started looking for the cat again. He walked past the gray buildings, past the alleyways after he looked within them, eager to see the cat somewhere, perhaps hiding behind the trash cans. He walked past the buildings that showed some lights in search for the cat. Eventually, after checking around for some time, he did not manage to find the cat. Darn it, that kitty is still gone, and I promised I'd get it some food. Hell, I think I am it. He looked beside him a couple streets further, having to look pretty far upwards to see most of it. It was a tall building, very tall. It was in the shape of a hexagonal prism. It was predominantly made out of glass and resembled the structure and look of a skyscraper very much. It was deluxe, expensive, and showed of taste and riches. From the side of the building he was at, he could make out some words. Grem, wait, what is that? A couple of streets further he heard some yelling, and some loud running as well. I have no clue what that is. Is someone being chased? Police maybe? No, security guards. What are they doing? Do I hear footsteps? Deciding that it wasn't his business, he smiled as suddenly as he noticed the small creature before him. Kitty, where were you? He said on the street. The kitty looked up and did the classic sound we all associate with it. You made me look for you all over. He muttered, annoyed. Still though, I got the tuna, so no more looking sad. Okay. Meow. I might take that as a yes. Issei was planning and dropping the cat some food. Still though, are those footsteps coming closer? As he had slightly opened up the backpack, the loud echo of footsteps approached him. With frightening speed, Issei attempted to look up, not having the chance. He only saw someone violently push him on his behind. Oh, Issei exclaimed, annoyed after having landed on his bottom. The heck was that for? Why'd someone just push me over so violently? He felt some abrasions on his back. He sneered as his backpack was almost flung entirely off of him. What the heck? Ah, that really hurt. Standing up, he only saw the faint figure of the man fading away, so fast that the man was already at the end of the street. With a hiss, he muttered, jerk. He stood up and wiped some of the filth from his clothes, put his backpack away, looking around for the kitty. It's nowhere to be seen. All that effort. Oh, no. Issei looked defeated. For nothing. He slammed his fist on the nearby stone wall. Slam. Aw, sykes. That hurts. Issei painfully shook his hand. Crap, crap, crap. That hurt. Ooh, that really hurt. Oh, shouldn't have hit it, that hurt. So, he just walked along Kyo Town, going and going until he reached the edges of the town, where his house was, where he lived with his parents. My parents, I hope they're not worried. Or mad. Eventually, he reached his home. A normal 2-story terrace house with a light blue exterior, a balcony on the second floor, and a brown roof. He arrived at his own doorstep, the brown door greeting him. He grabbed the key out of his own left pocket. Click. Opening the door and closing it behind him, Issei realized something lucky. I'm on time for dinner. Hell yeah. I'm home. Welcome back. Issei put off his shoes and still had the backpack on. He entered the living room to find his father watching TV, his mother in the kitchen finishing the last bit of dinner. Issei waved at them and asked, I'm not too late, am I? No, Issei, dinner is almost done and you just made it. That's good. He commented, real good. School's been good too. Taking his seat at the table, he got the response from his father. I see, and you don't seem all that excited. Why's that? Issei took his seat at the table. Excited? No, I'm not that. Issei told his dad, I love the classes. But the students, they're not my cup of tea. Still though, it's good you finally managed to get you to apply yourself. His father chuckled. Yeah, real good. Issei spoke casually. He quickly dispelled the air. Anyway, I can't wait for dinner. What have you been cooking, Mom? Just some chicken meat with rice, along with some vegetables on the side, Issei. HMMH. Issei hummed hungrily, an odd thing to bear witness to, seeing as it was an odd expression to make. His father got up and sat at the dining table with his son and wife. The Hayatu household was an average household, and the living room was that too, though different than the traditional households, something that his father understood though lamented about once every so often. With some posters around, a TV, the kitchen was smaller than average, blue and gray, and some posters around. Dad doesn't really mind, and Mom considers this to be a great look for the house. Understandable, I love this place too. His father, a man aging into his early 50s, eagerly looked forward to his wife's cooking. His father wore a white shirt with dark blue slacks that were a tad too big. He also wore penny loafers since he managed to get the day off. His father's face, with age lines and slight wrinkles, gained happy smile as he proclaimed, "Food, food, yeah. You always make the best." His mother merely smirked. A woman in her early 40s is what she was. She had some gray hairs and a few age lines across her face, even as she wore her own version of housewife attire, with a short-sleeved gray shirt with some gray pants. She also wore a brown belt. "Am I hungry?" "Pretty much." Digging in eagerly, everyone ate their place, and a conversation piece came up. "So, anything special?" "Nothing much. Still the same stuff." "Well, I kinda see why." "Goru." His mother scowled at the implication, shuddered about some teenager. Goru raised his hands up in I surrender sign. Okay, I'm sorry." He chuckled at that but continued to talk to Issei. "So, they just want to see some teenager? I can get that. But, there's something more important. I watched it last night and they lost. Darn it." The glare from his other shut him up, where she then turned her attention. "Now, Issei, how's school?" Same old. Good grades." "Yeah, they're up there." "Good," his mother said. "And how are you?" "I'm doing decent. Still though, I think a old lady ran faster than Usain Bolt and made me fall on my behind," Issei told her honestly. Things were going decent to say the least. He was doing good, but the hecking push. Jerk old lady or some random whiner. "Dinner's done, I've eaten and I'm full." "Really, you haven't eaten all that much. There's still some more on there," his mother told him with a raised eyebrow. Issei noticed this and quickly shrugged. "What can I say? Hunger can be satiated," Issei told her with a smile. "Mom and Dad, I told both of you that I'm not hungry. I kinda want to get ready for tomorrow." "Sure," they thought. With a parental look they nodded, giving him the time to leave to his room. Issei walked up the stairs. Wouldn't it normal to enter the blue hallway that led to both his parents, his and the guest bedroom? He went to his own room. Approaching his door you could see that it was your typical wooden one, with only a sign hanging that said, "Do not approach or enter." "Issei's room this is." Issei opened his door and closed it behind him, where you could swiftly see his bedroom. It was dark navy blue with some unique scribbles on it that looked quite artistic. He had his bed in the far right corner of the room, where next to it was his nightstand that had some drawers in it. Upon his nightstand was a family photo of his parents and him when he was a child. It featured him smiling next to a toy shop with his parents beside him. Good old times, and at least I got those posters away before Mom found out I still had them. Still though I missed the BOO buys. And of course, Issei did have some risque posters up. Before him, Mother told him to remove them to say it as pleasantly as he could. It made him chuckle. Still though, that homework is annoying. "Knock, knock, come in," Issei said, guessing it was his father. He was correct as the door opened to reveal the aged man. "Issei, are you okay?" With an awkward face he spoke. "Yeah, I am, so what's up?" Issei sat down on the chair at his desk and curled his hands together. His father sat on his bed and asked, "Are you sure besides you know who? Did you manage to make any friends?" "No, so what's up? Is that it?" Issei seemed genuinely curious. "What's up with this? This is weird." Issei looked at his father, who smiled at him. Issei looked at the calm gaze of his old man, whom thusly spoke. "All right then, son. Just know that I'm proud of you. And well, I trust that you know what's right and wrong. And last, are you okay?" "Yeah," he said. He looked with a small smile. "I always am. Okay, by the way, your mom wants to talk to you soon. I'm going to be busy. I think she wants you to run some errands." "Yeah, you too," Issei responded. Sitting at his desk he saw his father smile and close the oak door behind himself as he left. Issei stretched his arms, after putting his backpack on his desk. The zipper was open partly, showcasing some of the books in the end. But for the most part it was completely covered in darkness, due to the poor lighting in his room. "It's dark, so why would I have bright lights? My eyes are going to be hurting when I go to sleep." He went on his phone for a bit. Since his mom said soon and not now, he thought he could check some things. Hell, astronomers may have witnessed the birth of a baby planet. This deserves a read. Out of the darkness inside of his backpack, small crinkles were heard. Then, faint sounds came about, resembling soft tapping on a wooden desk. "KRKKK. With a raised eyebrow, Issei looked back. Ugh. His left arm suddenly had something very sharp pointed in it. "GRMMG. He shook his arm, glancing over quickly. "What the heck is that?" On his left arm was some sort of creature. "Ugh. I feel something going inside me. The %hash and is that green liquid." Issei felt something in his left arm as he tried to get the thing off. "My veins feel like they're burning. Are those little hooks that thing stuck inside my body?" It took him a whole 5 seconds to get the damn thing off, harshly throwing the thing against it. He heard a creaking sound, like an animal dying. Squirming, though it did manage to scurry off somewhere. Where? He had no idea. Smack. It made a loud thud sound, though Issei was more focused on the sting sensation in his arm. GRMMG. He could barely see the damn thing as it was somewhere, he thought. Damn, it's so much worse than a bee sting or a mosquito bite, though it stings like heck. He looked at the red bump on his arm. It kinda hurt. A bit. "Issei." "Yeah, Mom." Issei yelled back, "I'm coming." With haste Issei quickly bolted downstairs. "Yeah, I'm here." Coming face to face with his mother, well, not face to face. His mom was busy with cleaning something up, he thought. Without looking back, "Honey, can you get me something from the store? Some cleaning spray, we've run out of it. I know it's late." And I would've. "Nah, it's cool, Mom," Issei told her, still rubbing his arm. "I'll go to the store." His mother thanked him and said, "There's some money on the counter. Enough to get some." "Yeah, sure. And maybe check out a doctor if things get worse." Heck, he already started to feel a bit drowsy. He got himself ready, grabbing his shoes and jacket as he left into the dark. "Okay, store." Issei walked onto the gray sidewalk after he had left the porch, the streetlights illuminating the path before him, even as his skin started feeling a bit weird. But by then, he was already a couple blocks further, alone on the street. "Crap, I think I'm burning up." When he had started to walk in the correct direction, the big street sign telling him where he was at. He was burning up, really much. Heck, it was just 10 minutes since he got stung by that thing. "Feel like I'm sweating. A lot." Issei rubbed his hands through his brown hair, feeling it dampening with sweat. "Whew, burning up." His eyes started to slowly water as well and his eyeballs started hurting. Burning, like touching something so cold that it burns. "Oh, grghh." Issei's legs started to quiver too. His body quivering at the, "My body hurts starting to hurt. Frickin' heck." grghh. His arm was the worst. It felt like his veins were burning up, like his blood was becoming lava. He shook his arm as he realized something. What street am I on again? With his skull feeling like it was beginning to pound, his brain starting to feel like heated up mush. He blinked rough his watering eyes on the dark, desolate street. All alone, he started to quiver, his arm viciously burning. The stinging sensation there was becoming all-encompassing. grghh. Gripping his head, trying to alleviate the pounding sensation. It did not work. Pain everywhere, everything. Just becoming pain. His throat gained a burning sensation, like have eaten the world's hottest pepper. In fact, Issei became deadly pale and red, sweating like a madman, his hands and feet feeling like they were getting stabbed. Stopping at the side of an alleyway, blargh. He puked. Breathing heavily, he attempted to recuperate himself. "And I puked on the sidewalk too, damn." Breathing heavily, he felt his muscles clenching. It felt like a bodybuilder was squeezing them. This agonizing pain continued to grow worse over the next 30 minutes. His legs, his body, everything. It felt like his muscles were contracting, if he had any at all. He shakily tried to find a way to go, but due to the burning sensation in his eyes and that pain in his head, he could not find his way around. Feebly holding the wall, he tried to make his way back. Only to stumble, he felt the corner of the wall, and fell into a dirty alleyway, his jeans becoming dirty. Even as the sweat starts pouring down upon him, he tried to stand up, only to fall back on his knees. "Hurst, everything hurts, feel so sick." His eyes had some odd green liquid dripping down that blurred his vision. Issei stumbled and landed on his knees, futility trying to stand up. He landed on his chest. The pain became too much. "Feel so sick, muscles, everything hurts. Everything." As he laid there on the dark alleyway for what felt like hours, he made one last attempt at standing up. His fingers stung immensely and he grasped at the wall, making small dents inside the solid brick. His body laid down on the filth. "Can't think." He laid there, his body sickly and frail in the darkest of nights, with a small seizure as he shook for some periods of time and others not. Eventually, it all became too much for him. Everything, spinning. "I can barely stand or feel. Where am I?" Issei attempted to stand up, with great pain. "My muscles feel so stiff, can barely move them." Eventually, his vision cleared up, though the pain in his eyeballs remained. He felt somewhat sick. His scrawny body managed to stand up, his fingers digging into the concrete wall, leaving thick marks behind, due to the stiffness and nausea he felt at the moment. "I feel so," body's responding weirdly. I feel weird." With a stumble to his steps, he tried to make his way out of the alley. His vision eyeballs hurted so much that he could barely see. He left the alleyway, vision blurring. Odd. He thought he left the sidewalk for a moment. Beeping. A large semi-truck came barreling down at high altitude with top speed. The first he heard the beeping. He looked back, and for a second, it was all so slow, like his eyes were in slow motion for just a second. And suddenly it all sped up again to normal speed. Right before the truck hit him, he did a superhuman, tremendous leap over it. It was an acrobatic stunt that would leave Olympic athletes hanging their heads in shame. Landing on his bottom, his brown eyes widened in shock. As sitting on the street, he looked on with shock. Did I just backflippin'? Do a handstand over a fast-as-heck truck? HOOONNNK. HOONNNKKK. Huh. Issei looked back, finding an angry man honking the horn of his car. "Hey, some of us are trying to get to work, so get off the street." Hastily standing up, Issei ran away onto another sidewalk. "Damn junkies." Issei heard him mutter even as the man drove away. Weird. Definitely did not hear him say that. He was already too far away. Shakily walking away, Issei looked at his hands, seeing weird things on them. And his shoes, with a quick glance he had already noticed some of the tears. Like little hooks had current through them. At least I'm not walking barefoot. The damage is very minimal. But still, walking home. Gotta get home, but that truck. It was all so slow, I just saw it in instinct. I perceived it all so slowly. And that flip, I just did that over something so big. Issei looked shaken as he headed home. And that sickness, I don't feel so bad anymore. Wait a minute. Issei looked up at the sky with bewilderment. Wait, did that guy just say head to work? But it was night when I left. Smashing the wall in frustration, he lamented. They're gonna kill me, I hope not. With eyes, he looked at the sizable hole he left inside the wall. Strange thing was, I barely felt anything sides the brick. No pain, nothing like that. I smashed through the wall like it was nothing. Luckily no one noticed. More busy on their cell phones or talking with their friends. Shaking his head, he made his way home. Slower than he wanted, he noticed something odd. Am I going faster than usual? No, can't be it. Shakily grabbing his keys, he tried to unlock the door of his home after he had arrived. He turned the keys and I broke the lock. Maybe it's open, I'll try fixing it later. Turning his door handle, he opened the door, tried to, at least. After a bit of harsh struggling. Are you kidding me? He pulled the door off. Completely. Holding the door in his hand, like this weighs nothing, he muttered under his breath. And when he pulled the door away, he finally noticed it. Oh, hey mom, hey dad. He awkwardly let go of the door as it fell down. I'll fix that. His mother seemed livid. His dad surprised as he rubbed his temples, looking down and breathing calmly. They looked wrapped in their own little worlds right about now. Crap, I effed up. Hey, and $$, did you do the door? Mom, wait, where the hell were you divided by? I was then then there was this, I just flipped over it in awe. We had to call the cops. We were out searching for you, and this is what we get. Wait, you're not gonna let me expel. Get the fool into your room. No, but, his dad interrupted. Issei, just go to your room. We'll talk soon, Goro said calmly. Fine then, I'll go to my damn room then. God, Issei yelled as he stomped upstairs. Goro, why did you talk to him like that? He was gone for the entire night. Nikki said, shocked. I know he was. He was gone, but we don't even know why or how. Let's just wait and talk. Fine, maybe I shouldn't have gotten so angry too, but still I was worried, you know. And he looked so pale, Yeah, me too. But we can always have a calm discussion about this. But, they looked at the doorway. What about the door though? Trying to catch a breather, he looked at the mirror in his room in shock. My eyes, as he stared at the long mirror that was meant for checking your full appearance, and he still saw his more slim and scrawny body. Not his usual brown eyes, he noticed the dark, almost glowing green eyes staring back at him. What shocked him most, as he pulled his eyelid down, slits like a lizard's, or, looking at his hands, he noticed odd shapes in them, like something was underneath his skin. Then suddenly small little hooks popped out of his hands and fingers, hiding underneath his skin. They were fully organic, it seemed. But weird. Why do I have so many little hooks coming out of my hand? Sitting down on his bed, he went through everything that happened. That sting, the sickness, that burning feeling, like I was going to die. He looked at the bump on his left arm, where that thing had stung him. The backflip, the punching a hole through brick. His new eyes. He felt so strong, powerful, even. He looked at his hands that still had the hooks pointing out. Very apparent hooks the size of his pinky, thought they were quite thin. And he grinned. I have all these powers now, awesome. Private boardroom. Where is it? Do any of you have an idea? His snarling command ruled over the entire group before him. Where is the test animal? The experiment? Sir, we have no clue. Excuse me, you have no clue at all. We've already sent you the mail, someone stole it. A mail? I'm a busy man, gentlemen. I don't read everything in my damn spam folder. He sneered, and really, and the scientists. The guards, you lot, what happened to you? Because last I remember, we had to pull you out of vents. It's someone broke in, knocked us all unconscious and left. Having taken it, the experiment. I see. Someone managed to get past the security, stories up and left. Interesting. The man had taken a couple of breathers, calmed himself down and talked much calmer. He leaned back on the chair in their conference room. He, at the head of the table, of course. He curled his fingers inwards and looked up, then at them. In the isolated room of the building, he asked, and the police have found nothing. No, sir, though they managed to push the man into going into one location. It seems he did not manage to bypass all the alarms on his way out. The cops, managed to track him down to a suburban area, almost managed to track him down to a location. The cops say anything else? Yeah, just some kid leaving before they managed to track him down. Probably not all that worried about a teenager when they had to track the thief. Interesting. So a teenager leaves right before the cops arrive and chase the thief. But the kid probably had nothing to do with it. Coincidence does exist, after all. Any idea on who it may be? None. No clue whatsoever. Damned. He sighed. Hog. Very well then, collect any existing data of subject weld. I'll be taking care of the rest. He rested his palms upon one another. And any word about our little DRG antidote? The one weld was injected with. Any progress at all? No, sir. Besides the lost subject, no animals have shown any other reaction to it besides a slowly death by extreme pain or random mutation. It's faulty, perhaps beyond fixing. He brushed the crimson bangs out of his eyes and suddenly spoke. I see then, but animals are very much different to humans. Do you all get where I am going with this? Human testing. Yes, indeed, you heard me correctly. We'll be going into that direction, while I take care of our little animal subject and thief. He said calmly, confidently. Any problems? No, sir. So, any confusion? They all had their expressions, from intrigue to excitement. Then a vile smile came upon his visage. Then, I'm glad we understand each other, gentlemen. Now, let's get us some humans. Hayatu household. I have all these powers now. Awesome. With astonishment and amazement, he gazed upon his hands. His grin was split very wide. He was very eager. Standing up, he noticed something shocking. Pulling off his shoes, he saw the very same hooks that were on his hand poking from his feet. Okay, freaky. Awesome, but freaky. Freaky cool. Yeah, totally something people say. Freaky cool, Issei spoke enthusiastically. So, can they go back? Cause I need my hands for a lot of things. Wait a minute. Pulling his foot up, he noticed the fact that the little hooks went through the wooden floor. So, they're strong enough to go through wood at the very least. Nice. But seriously, how do I hide this? Issei murmured worriedly. Are they retractable? I think so. After all, they were just hidden in my hands. Retract. Hide, my little hooks. So, no verbal command necessary. Good. Would be kinda of weird to just randomly shout, come out, my little hooks. Issei scratched the back of his head. He then murmured, now, I have strong little hooks coming from my hand and feet. I feel stronger in my eyes. Of crap. My eyes. His eyes widened drastically. My new eyes. How am I going to hide them? Crap. I don't have any contacts or anything to put it over with. What will happen if either of my parents saw them? That's a rabbit hole that I don't want to go down in. He worriedly thought about his parents' reaction. First things first, these little hooks need to be retracted. Question is, how? I think I have an idea. Why not do the same action that made them pop out in the first place? What made them pop out in the first place? I think it may have just been the ability having fully manifested. Maybe if I focus hard enough, I can retract the little hooks on my hands and feet. NGH. He narrowed his eyes as it seemed as if he was trying his very hardest to poop. Which, of course, he wasn't trying to do. Hide, hooks, hide. Okay, that kinda worked. The many hooks, that were previously as long as his pinky and as thin as a card, were starting to move. It was weird, really weird, but he tried his best, trying to make them go down. In his hands. Gosh, that was a weird thing to say. He saw the little twitches. They were trying to go down. Good, I can do it. He smiled as they started to go down, concentrating as best as he could. He even felt it at his feet. Calm down, Issei. Being excited will get you nowhere. Just breathe in and out and try and make them disappear. I can fangirl about this later. It felt like a calm breeze came over him. He sat back down and breathed calmly. He laid back on his bed and started to think in a much more calm manner. Okay, first things first. Analyze the situation completely. He touched his face, feeling his hand brush up against wait a minute. The hooks, I don't feel them. Slowly looking at his hands, he saw that the hooks were once more hidden inside them. His hands looked, well, almost like they normally did. With a slow breath, he glanced at his feet, noticing that the same hooks were gone, hidden away. Okay, analysis complete. Answer complete. Being calm does not trigger them into coming out. Looking down, his head lowered. But the floor. Dang it. How am I going to explain thigh? Issei looked at a small carpet he kept in the corner of the room for aesthetic purposes. I'll just move the carpet over the little holes in the floor. Casually, he stood up and did just that. Proudly looking over the now hidden markings and holes, he smirked. 100% on every test, and I feel proud about this. What am I saying? Of course I am. Still though, what am I going to do with these powers? I need to find some way to test them out. Issei pondered. After all, are there any limits to what I can do? What are the limits? Boundaries? How do they even work? What can I do? Looking at his digital alarm clock at his bedside table, showing that it was Sunday. Phew, no optional classes today. Sunday. Day off. Good, real good. Meaning, I have the whole day to practice. He started to feel excited. Really eager to figure out snipes. They're out again. He referred to the hooks from his hands. Well, I guess they're with enough practice. Looking at the window in his room, he walked over to it. Not that big of a drop. He looked at his bare, hooky little feet and came up with an idea. They sent me to my room as punishment, that much is clear. So, how about I just lock the door and use my pillows as a fake me? Works in movies. But, first the eyes. People will ask questions and that could lead to, darn, did the government really want to dissect me? No. Issei, calm down. You've just watched too many movies. He somehow managed to make his worry drop. Still though, better not take the chances. He looked at his desk and walked over. A pair of thick shaded sunglasses. A bit too big still, but I can make it work. Putting it on, he decided that he had prepped himself enough. Deciding to do what he had previously thought of, he carefully watched his steps and tried to breathe in and out as calmly as he could. He felt the things retracting slowly. Good. It took him a couple of minutes to prepare himself. Thank gosh that he still had his shoes on. Still though, a change in clothes is better. These are, after all, filthy as all heck. Sleeping on alley floors is not good. PSHH, like I didn't know that already. He chuckled as he swapped clothes. In just a couple of minutes he wore a different set of attire. His sneakers hit the rim of the window as he opened it ever so softly. He was preparing to sneakily climb out of it. All right, sneaky. He leaned forward and slipped. Og, K-A-D-U-N-K. Oh. He fell on his back. The shock kept him frozen for a bit. He landed at the side of his house, just dodging being seen through the windows of his home. Actually, it doesn't even hurt all that much. No really, now that I think about it, I feel nothing at all. I was probably just shocked that I slipped. Standing up, he quickly bolted away at amazing speeds. He darted on the stone pavement through some people and into some alleyways. I can't get caught now. Better bolt out of here. His blue blouse flappered behind him as he saw a long mirror abandoned near some trash cans. The graffiti behind it was, containing some less than colorful words. He partially took off his shirt and inspected his back, finding no bruises or any indication of harm on it. What? But I fell the second floor. I know that should have left at least some mark. But absolutely none, he remarked as he gazed upon his reflection. Issei could not help but smirk at that. The more you know. Well, I remember the time falling over hurt like hell. But now I guess things like that don't even affect me that much. Still though, I don't want to jump from buildings anytime soon, so I'll be figuring this one out later. I just hope that time won't be soon. He put his clothes back on, proper, and left the alleyway. He entered a dingy parking lot with few souls around. If I didn't know better, this place was some dangy place filled with stereotypical villains. But then again, Kyo isn't that crazy. As he gazed upon the lot, he smiled eagerly as he got an idea. Moving over to one of the cars, he saw a heavy-looking gray pickup. If I have enough strength to punch through a wall, I wonder how much I can lift. He grabbed the pickup, putting his fingers underneath it and with both arms lifted it. He said no word as he barely felt anything of its weight. Sure, he knew it was heavy, but it barely felt like that for him. He barely had any strain. Without a grunt, he lifted at the end of it over his head. This strength, I'm stronger now than I ever could have thought of. But, what if I lift? Over my head. Easily he made his way at the center of the heavy-looking gray pickup truck. Now underneath its center he placed his hand under it. And, while feeling the added weight, lifted it entirely over his head. What the heck? This strength, it's beyond anything human. Especially for a scrawny guy like me. It was a shocking sight, seeing a young, tired face filled with exuberance over his head. Without straining, the only thing he seemed to struggle with was the balance. Grinning underneath the car, his emerald green orbs, hidden thanks to the sunglasses, showed his excitement. Without caring, he put the pickup down, not caring if he had done it correctly or not. He put his fist up and exclaimed, "This is awesome." The very fact that he could do that was baffling to him. He could not believe it. Then, though, Issei started to think, even as he noticed the hooks popping out from all over his palm and fingers, besides the top, of course. GRGGH. The wound still hurt a bit. The heck, geez, that hurt suddenly. Veins throbbing again. The fact that he still felt a trace of it let him know about the damn thing. I guess I haven't healed up just yet. Even though the little wounds seemed to be turning into scars. Oddly weird scars, Issei remarked as he shook his left appendage. Though I doubt it's the kind girls would look at me for. But, even if I feel great, what the heck was that thing that stung me? Injected that liquid or fluid in my body. Or the heck is it even? I didn't see it when I returned. It must have crawled away, last I saw. And my room is pretty barren and I would be hurt if my parents had seen it. Did it crawl out of my window or something? For a second, Issei looked at the point of injection that creature stung him at, poisoned him with. His slitted eyes were to have expressed confusion if one could see them clearly. Standing alone, he continually ticked his chin while thinking. Okay, so say, theoretically, that whatever it was had injected me with whatever had only done this. But how? I nearly thought that it has been poison. After all, it felt like I was going to die a horrible death. He narrowed his eyes as he started thinking. Considering that whatever that fluid was, it would have probably been considered poison to my body, and for whatever reason, I somehow managed to survive it. So it must be a toxin then. And what the heck could it have done to my body? What changes did it bring? What mutations? Issei pondered curiously, then, his eyes narrowed, he felt a gut instinct, something new. A mix between curiosity and desire to figure this out, to this best of his ability. If I remember correctly, the school has a lab for the seniors to use in their classes. He whispered, maybe, just maybe, I could sneak in. A mischievous glint sparkled in his emerald eyes. A good idea, he thought to himself. Must be a good one, figuring out what exactly it had done to him. Or, I could use my downgraded kitty microscope at home. Thing is, it's very old and outdated. Who knows if I could find anything worth it all. But, breaking in and borrowing a microscope and some equipment, and of course, returning it later might be useful. Plus, maybe, if I'm lucky, no one might be there. I'll just use it for a bit. Then, if I need to, he murmured hesitantly, I'll just keep it for a little bit. Gathering the courage, Issei Hayato stood at the closed gates of Kyo Academy. There were some guards, which was a given since it was a co-ed private school. The white walls, tall fences and one giant gate. Gazing upon the multiple blocks of the giant-sized school. Come on, you can do this. Just get in there. It's just a school. Avoid the guards, if there are any, and grab the necessary stuff. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Standing at, of course not the gate, he waited and thought. I hope I can recreate that jump. He stood around the back of the school property, looking at the spiked fence points. On the other hand, if I mess this up I might get stuck by my bum. Hee, that rhymed. He chuckled. He prepared himself as he noticed no one actually be around now, on his side of the fence and on the other side. Okay, 3, 2, 1, and jump. SWISH. You could hear the air moving as Issei jumped from his crouched down position high up in the air. He put in the most strength his leg muscles now had to offer and jumped to the height of several stories in a single, superhuman bound. Now quite high up in the sky, he had only one thing to think of for himself. Whoa, WOAH, 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 I gotta get a good landing. Quick, shaking his arms in the air, he attempted to keep them steady against the wind resistance. Something. He attempted to keep himself steady as he dropped down, somewhat succeeding. HY. He landed on the other side of the fence, landing on his legs, making sure his balance was all right. He straightened himself out. Totally awesome. Even if I jumped higher than the school. He smiled at that and quickly looked around. Gotta make sure I don't get spotted. After all, besides looking a bit sick even though I feel great, I don't really have a super disguise. Okay, gotta find a way in. Issei crept up towards to the back of the school, looking around. Maybe a vent. Through the rooftop. He shook his head. No. They probably got some alarms installed there, though I doubt they did that in the vents. Would be really weird if they did. Like, if it ever got off, everyone looked around. And it would just be some rat. That decided, Issei climbed up to a couple of vent that was somewhat high, not wanting to risk a failed jump. Since even he doubted that he knew what he could do yet. Still haven't figured out how to use this hooks on my hands and feet. For clawing and scratching. He held onto the vent, noticing how tightly it seemed to be screwed in. With a quicken, he easily got it off and let it drop to the grass below. Luckily, it seemed to be big enough to house a person in it. A clitter-clatter was heard as Issei crawled through the vents and, on occasion, managed to see through the grates where he was. In a minute, he suspected he was already there from what he saw from above. He deduced correctly. Attempting to silently leave the vent was a struggle, but eventually, he managed to land on his feet. No cameras here. And Issei, you really should have grabbed something else than a blouse. It's morning and you're borrowing a microscope and some equipment. Wait a minute, second thought. How am I going to carry this? Oh, why the heck did I not think this through? Oh well, I'm already here. He lamented, and with dexterity he managed to worm his way past whatever cameras there might be. Having just escaped from the rusting steel that were the vents, crap, whatever am I going to do with this seal? Thing. Great, just lie it down there. He almost comically put it away, so that he could, of course, grab it and make a getaway. Moving throughout the white walls of the academy, his sneakers barely making a sound as he did his best to stay silent. Since the academy has an escalator system, it's luckily not that hard to find. It says where it all is on the signs. He made his way past the teacher's lounge, up the stairs while using his newfound stealthiness to get past them all. All of the cameras. Heck, Issei was even starting to get a small rush from this, even though he knew it was morally reprehensible. He made his way to the school student laboratory. Yes, they've still not put the stuff away. Beats looking into the storage room, a room which I have no clue where it may be. Guess they think students would probably steal. Huh, irony. Please let the door be unlocked. Of course not. Maybe I can bust it down. Force the lock open. Lockpick. I don't know how to lockpick. Why did I even think that? Okay, thinking time. Looking around quickly, he prepared himself. Holding the locked door handle, he quickly gave it a quick shoulder push. A somewhat loud umph. As he busted the door open, once more, not struggling in the slightest. He quickly made his way inside and attempted to close the door as quickly as possible. Slitted eyes were filled with focus and weariness as he looked around the lab tables, seats, teacher's desk, and some equipment that was scattered about and, found ya. And it's even big enough to carry in my hand. And it's a good one, a good microscope. On closer inspection, he figured out what model it was. Bruh, Scope M500 BMS lead monocular compound microscope. Darn, that's a mouthful. And looky here, some of the other necessary stew. What the? As Issei was grabbing the microscope and the extra, necessary stuff in his pockets, his eyes widened in shock. The hells was that huge, shadowy figure he saw in front of him. What left that kind of a shadow? Oh crap. Issei did not turn around, even as he just knew someone was behind him. Guess I was just too wrapped up in looking around, stupid Issei. Hello, young man. Issei did not respond, knowing that turning around would definitely show who he was. Though Issei managed to spot through the window reflection. What the? I can't even see the guy's full body. How tall is he? You can turn around, you know. You are going to be arrested, you can't run now, thief. Was spit out. Not while I'm behind you. Geronimo. WH. As fast as he could, Issei bolted away with the microscope, pushing the titan of a man to the ground, and perhaps even to the wall, from what he heard. But like heck was he going to turn around? GH, you little she. No cursing. Issei yelled out in a reprimanding manner. You don't want to curse nowadays, everything offends. Tasteless buffoon. He made sure to make his voice sound deeper and different. He wasn't stupid. But maybe he was an idiot. As long as the man doesn't see me, I'm good. Hope the fake voice made it convincing. He bolted so fast that through the long hallways, quickly moving downstairs and opening a door. The wind brushed against his face as he was moving at insane speeds. He quite literally became a blur to the naked eye. Now on the grass field, Issei held the microscope in one arm as he saw a wall he could jump over. It was a big wall, but one he could clearly jump over. "Got ya, you little turd." The deep rumbling voice was now coming closer behind him. He ran away, not even glancing, even as he heard the footsteps going at him at a fast speed. Issei was simply much faster now. So, even with the microscope in his hand, that barely weighed a thing, Issei reached the wall and leaped over it with a frightening amount of ease. "See you never, slowpoke." He grinned as he saw the angry face of the man. "Oh crap, that dude is huge. Nah, it's gotta be the distance or something like that. No way, that dude is just so huge. No way." This time sticking the landing much better, Issei now bolted away and darted into an alley. His sneakers racked the concrete as he put the microscope down on top of a closed trash can. "Time to get home. Quick." Maybe he saw my face when I turned around. Nah, he doesn't have that good eyesight. Still, I gotta beat feet. Hayadu household. He had climbed back in his room through the window, his newfound abilities to thank for that. "This better be worth it," he murmured. "Still though, I'm faster now too. I can jump, say, several stories high now too. This is stunning." Laying the microscope down on his desk, he set it up, already having some experience with using microscopes and equipment. They messaged me." Issei pulled up his phone and went over to his text messages. "Mom, we'll talk later about what happened. You're free to walk around, but don't leave the house. See you soon. P.S. Sorry for acting so rashly, you just got me worried. But don't ever do that again." "Too late for that, I kinda left the house." "Dad, I don't know what happened, but remember to talk to your mom. I trust that you didn't do any stupid. Just don't make us worried like that again, okay?" "Sure, I'll do my best." A small, soft and fond smile graced his lips. But now, time to test. He had cleared his desk of all of his books and prepared himself. Okay, the slide prepared, the optical and then everything. Done. Now, he laid down the microscope slide that he had in his pocket in front of him. Using the edge of a ruler, he attempted to prick his skin. But it's sharp. It should cut right in. He looked around and noticed a small pin laying on his desk. Guess I'll just use that. Ouch. I pricked it deep, and now blood is going down on the slide at a pretty fast speed, luckily not too much blood. Putting it under the optical, he fastened it with the stage clips. He then looked through the observer and used the focus knob to place the sample into focus and adjust the condenser. He looked through the, "Oh my, what happened to my blood?" Looking through it, he saw his red blood, the cells. The shape was different, and he saw his, presumably red blood cells very differently. They still looked the same, but what is that shape? And why does the center look so off? Plasma, red blood cells, white blood cells, they are all there. The structure is the same, but how they look. And, wait, what are they doing? Issei noticed, they're so weird. At first glance, they just seem really stable and not moving, kinda, but still odd. And what's the core of that blood cell doing? And why do I have a bunch of white blood cells? And is that some form of energy? It's mixed with my blood cells, the core of it. So odd. Issei zoomed in, as he liked to call it, to get a better look. The nucleus, an organelle found in eukaryotic cells. Inside its fully enclosed nuclear membrane, it contains the majority of the cell's genetic material. That's a given. But how? Mine is nowhere near the same anymore. The thing is just so misshapen, like it's altered. So odd. I don't know what to make of this. And there's another, fourth cell. I barely even noticed that. What is that thing doing there? What's its purpose? I know that the membrane enclosed part of a cell in which the genetic material is stored, the cellular nuclei, is fundamental. But it makes sense, considering the poiso, toxin, that is now running through my veins, did heck knows what to my body, would have also altered that. And I saw it at every cell. Then Issei lamented softly, "It's a damn shame that I'm not specializing in cells. I only have average knowledge about it. So annoying. And I only know a bit more. Dang biochemistry classes that I love so much." He looked at his hands and noticed the hooks were now gone. I better try and learn those little hook things, can't just have him popping out whenever. At least he knew what made them function. Moments like these really want to make me release some tension. Besides the obvious way, and I cannot believe I am saying this, I still have to practice some more. So, now with eyes narrowed, Issei drew his conclusion. Whatever the toxin that the creature had injected in me was, it was responsible for altering my body, giving me these superhuman abilities, maybe even more. God, since when did my life become so cell-related? He breathed, cell-related. Cell-related. That sounds so weird to say. But, back to practice, and maybe I can figure more out about the cellular nuclei after some research. Going on his laptop, he went on various sites such as Science Today and Science Behind the Body while attempting to search some papers. The process took him around an hour before him lamented, offering, "Nothing, the last hour of searching was stupid. The only thing I can find are stupid conspiracy theories about human experiments. PSSHHH, like anyone would ever do that. Make giant insect people. Ridiculous. And know what is even more ridiculous? Me, for talking to myself. Why am I even doing that? Nothing worthwhile was found about human mutations. Nothing new or revolutionary suddenly popped up. Sad, since it was the internet and Issei expected it to be all-knowing. Though he did make notes of anything interesting he would have managed to figure out or take note of, writing them down on a notebook. Yes, you can't count on the internet on being all-knowing. Ugh, nothing about human mutations. Only theories. And most don't even compare to what I just had to go through. Still though, my powers are sweet. He chuckled at that. Having finished his business, Issei walked with excitement. Even though I only barely managed to figure things out, it's still amazing that I've got all these powers. All these powers no one else has. Probably. He excitedly jumped downstairs, going over the railing and landing safely on the floor, hitting none of the decorations. Words cannot begin to tell about his happiness. I love that freaking thing. Racing downstairs, Issei hungered for some milk. And cookies. Milk, and cookies. Maybe a pancake. I love pancakes. Me and Dad used to make them, even when Mom said we shouldn't. Maybe I should watch Honor Restored later. Dang, that's a good movie. I know that. A really good movie. He felt great. Odd to believe he thought he was dying a day ago. But still, only a day with these powers and he managed to figure some things out already. Things are going splendid, so why not go out and about? Plus, getting some rays will get it. Rays. And, it's already 3 p.m. I guess I was up there for longer than I thought. Still, I'm hungry. Doing as he wanted, he grabbed some milk and cookies. And some more food. Then he ate some meat. How much he just wanted some meat. Maybe he could make some beef. Or chicken. So he did just that. He was pretty damn hungry as he had not eaten all day. So, with the now-made food that took a couple of minutes to make, he eagerly wolfed it down like a hungry animal. SHWO would. As he wolfed it all down, he chuckled awkwardly. Hey, what's up? His dad raised an eyebrow. How long have you guys been here? The entire time. I promise I'll clean it all up. After I'm done. He ate slower, but still fast. His mom sighed tiredly, just sit at the dang table at least. Okay, he said through a food-filled mouth. And why are you wearing sunglasses indoors? Because I'm a crazy teenager that thinks I might get dissected or thrown into a freak show for money or knowledge for the government. And I think that both of you would freak the heck out if you saw what I could do. Maybe sell me to a secret group. You know, the usual thing. Who knows? Maybe you'd even throw me away. Cause it makes me look cool. Issei spoke with a grin as he swallowed down the last remainder of food. His thickly shaded sunglasses, which he had put on when he went downstairs. Luckily he had it on. He sat down and grabbed something to drink. The table was silent for just that moment. Issei, you look a bit thin, scrawnier, she means, his dad added jokingly. Looking at himself, he raised an eyebrow. Sure, he was a bit scrawny, he knew that. But, have you been working out? You seem a bit more. Working out? Kinda. Yeah, sure I did. He scratched the back of his head awkwardly. Yeah, I see it now. You've gotten slimmer, scrawnier. But, his mother stood up from the table and reached over. She grabbed his right arm and squeezed a bit. Thin, but you definitely got muscles. Still a bit scrawny, though. Boru, hearing it from me was enough. You're not that scrawny, son. You could build some muscle. HMMH. Anyway, Issei, that boy, she almost sneered, called the house phone. He wants to visit Matsuda with you. I see. Well, besides it all, we were once close. He'd like to think so at the very least. I'll pay him a visit. Matsuda especially. See what's up with him, you know. Plus, all that researching and studying is making me feel burned out. A trip outside could do the trick. Thing is, I don't know if I could make it within visiting hours. You know how much I dislike those boys, Issei. And one of them did something so vile he had to go away. Why haven't you stopped hanging out with them? Ma, I've known these guys since middle school. Despite their personalities, I can't just throw that away. For aside, look, you're a good, smart kid. But hanging with the wrong crowd can really F it all up for you. Just keep that in mind, okay? Yeah, sure, old man. Issei dismissed. He really didn't care for the same talk over and over. But, what if Mom goes inside my room and sees some of the notes I just made? He cleaned up after himself and quickly up to his room via the oak stairs. Going through his door and entering his room, he found a place to hide the microscope and notes. He took a glimpse at his form in the full-body mirror. Downstairs, however, he heard murmurs. Why didn't you ask just now? Just wait, honey. He's busy now, when it's time. Not hearing the conversation entirely, Issei decided to ignore it, directing his attention to something more pressing. Issei didn't know what to think of this. Sure, he just thought he got some cool powers. But this too, he flexed a muscle, noticing that, while he had gotten scrawnier, he gained some muscles. Real, compact muscles. Not bulky, not anything to look at. But, muscles nonetheless. Never noticed. Another effect. Well, it's not like it's anything eye-catching. A shame. But I still got super strength though. Punching through brick is awesome. Definitely lifting a truck too. Wait, how much does a heavy-duty pickup weigh? His thoughts went on as he did all of that. He grabbed a hooded jacket and put the gray piece of apparel on. Having readied himself, Issei was prepared to go downstairs and grabbed his phone already, sending his pal a text message. On the blue screen he held his red-cased phone. Issei, yo, Madohama, where we gonna meet? Madohama, Nanamura Street, the bridge near that, you good with that? I want to visit the guy at the place, you know. Issei, stop texting like we're gonna buy some drugs, but yeah sure, I'ma meet you there. Madohama, hey, cool. See you there. Issei readied himself. But, why go the boring way? He looked outside of his window and smiled, the same window that had a roof very close by. Rooftops that were all nearby one another. Rooftops that he could. If I can go ... the highway. Location, rooftops. WOOHOOO. The sight of a teenager jumping extraordinary gaps between buildings was the oddest sight one might see, especially the flips, somersaults, and complicated Parker maneuvers. He flipped over a railing, doing a frontward somersault, landing perfectly, with his arms waving around like a gleeful child. His sneakers hit the misplaced gray tiles as he ducked under a washing line meant for drying clothes. He jumped from rooftop to rooftop until he got closer, all the while performing any complicated sequence of gymnastic stunts such as flips, rolls, and springs without any training. Just his new physical abilities making this all possible. H-A-H-A-A-A. Y-E-A-H. And Issei loved it, the wind rushing against his face. This was awesome. He loved that thing. Whatever that creature was, he just loved it. Issei suddenly stopped though, right before he hit the edge. Noticing that is a huge space. Issei was on building the equivalent of 2 average houses stacked up against one another. He was on a bigwig supermarket, to say it clearly. In the far of distance there it is, only it looks awfully clear from here. I can see everything, though it's still far as heck. Where ordinary humans, even ones with keen eyesight, would have incredible trouble spotting in. Focusing his eyes, he saw far, pretty damn far, and in such detail. Better than he ever saw anything before. But the excitement, it was there. He felt the rush, the adrenaline. He loved his superhuman pow. HHH. The hooks came out at the worst moment, digging onto the stone fence he was just jumping off of, resulting in Issei falling down a full 180 degrees, his face smashing into the brick. KADUNK. Uog. With him handing in an odd position due to the hooks, he painfully grunted, his emerald eyes narrowed. He noticed his sunglasses almost slipping off of his nose, narrowly catching them with his hooky hands. Oh my, I am so far up. The height of the building was so enormous that everything he saw was pretty damn little. The cars, the people, they all looked like smaller. Even though he saw them in detail, strangely not the too far ones. But he still realized how far up he was. And, oh, my head. And, crap, if I fall, am I going to survive this? He looked at the curved hooks that came from his feet, holding him upside down, face against brick. Okay, can't mess up now. Don't let go, hooky hands. Issei, calm down. Think rationally. He breathed against the brick. Maybe I can unhook it, move my leg. He no longer stuck to the ledge. Instead, he fell. I-N-O-N-O-N-O. Issei reached for anything at all that might save him. He felt terrified. He didn't want to drop to his death. Luckily for him, he held onto a random washing line between the buildings. He held onto it for dear life, onto the white washing line, but it broke off. OSHIII. Swinging on the washing line, he painfully went against the brick at fast speed. HHH. KADUNK. The surprise was good enough to catch him off guard, but Issei was no idiot. Either he swings back and forth, getting stuck there, or he would jump off, hoping to catch onto something. He did the last part, but realized that it was just a wall, and no windows or ledges were there for him to grab onto. With shock and fear written over his face, he desperately grabbed onto the wall. He expected to fall, drop to his death, but he found himself astonished. I'm not falling. Looking down, he saw that he was not falling, but was under the wall, stuck there. His hands, the downward curving hooks, disappeared into the brick, holding him in place on the wall. Hooks, holding me in place, firmly. He placed his feet on the wall too, the downward curving hooks as large as his pinky, that looked like sharp misshapen L's, held him there firmly. Wow, just don't look down. Issei looked down, seeing everything perfectly, down to the long trees, the benches, the old man and woman playing checkers, the children passing a ball to each other over and over again. Everything was so tiny yet so detailed, like he saw it greater than any device ever could see. It made it seem higher than it really was. Shouldn't have looked down. Then he looked up, and with one slow movement placed another arm further. Then he put his leg higher, then his other, and soon he was scaling the solid surface. Scaling it, hands further, legs higher, scaling it further and further. So that was what it was for. It was so I could scale surfaces. He scaled the solid surface, going up and up. His emerald eyes widened in amazement. This was amazing. Smiling, even as his gaze contained astonishment, he scaled the solid surface. Next to him, he heard, "Meowing. What the? TJITTYY." Issei screamed bafflingly. The kitty was on a balcony, relaxing. You are. WA. Now you show up. I went out of my way to get you foo. No, nope. Issei spoke calmly, quieting his voice down immensely. You know what? I should thank you, Kjiti. Issei spoke softly at the end. The Kjiti was intrigued. You helped change my life. So, you do. Issei nodded and scaled the surface. Eventually, he reached the ledge and easily pulled himself up. Now sitting on the ledge, he saw the distance. He was very high up, yet Issei could not help but look in astonishment. Like a befuddled child, he saw everything on so much detail. This is bangin'. And I'm finally starting to get a hang on these hooks, not that much, but progress nonetheless. He grinned in excitement. Like a child discovering the latest and greatest toy, he used this scaling ability some more. The sparks in his eyes, this was amazing to him. He loved that reptile thing that seemed oh so frightening. Madohama was checking his phone. Where the heck is this dude? He leant against the wall, standing next to the store electronics for all. Issei was at least 10 minutes late, and that was quite upsetting since they were visiting their pal in the gray rooms. Little did Madohama know, Issei was just behind him, scaling walls and front flipping. He got closer, doing somersaults and other complex gymnastic movements. He screamed no more, but his grin of excitement was still there. He landed in the alleyway after jumping from a low roof. With a smile, he put on his sunglasses. Casually walking out of the alleyway, he saw his pal and, the hell are those? The pores of his skin. Shrugging, Issei approached Madohama with a smile. Yo, Wishu. Why? With an almost comedic, girlish shriek, Madohama reached around and automatically tried to hit Issei. A pure fright response as he reached his thin arm and made a semi-fist, one which Issei easily caught, Hayato holding Madohama but with barely any strength. Issei looked at him with a raised eyebrow, his eyes hidden due to the thick pair of shades. Letting Madohama's arm go, the teenager shook his arm painfully. Fuck. HMHARG. Dude, do you lift or something? The glasses-wearing teen rubbed his sore arm. And what's with the pair of shades? My bad, man. He scratched the back of his head with an awkward smile. Just didn't want to let you hit me like a girl. Dude, ass. That's totally ass. I have the strength of 1,000 men. Madohama exclaimed. Sure, man. And the shades? Just decided to go for a new look. Issei chuckled, looking confident and almost cocky. For whatever reason. Anyway, Moto, Matsuda should only be there for a day now. He's getting out tomorrow, right? Yeah, I think so too. Let me pull up GPS, Madohama commented, picking up his anime-styled phone. Something that made Issei's face scrunch up ever so slightly. It's not that far, a couple-minute walk. And, wait a minute. What's up? Why are you looking like that, bro? PMHPH. Heta. That case. That phone case. What the heck? I mean, anime girls. Issei muffled his laughter. Looks kinda ridiculous, huh? Dude, shove off with those fake Casanova glasses you got. You're not cool. Madohama retorted with a grin. Okay. Issei finally restrained his chuckles. Let's go, okay. You lead the way, Otaku. Get out of here, nerd. Haha, it was all in good fun, both were in good spirits. They smiled and laughed, bumped fists. They joked around, despite where they were going. No use, after all. Till tomorrow the pal would be back, his last and only friend. We met in middle school, like hella little joking around is gonna F up our relationship. Still, Matsuda, I just can't believe this. Dude, but when she pulled out the pink staff with the prince. Damn, that was intense. Madohama. Yeah, pal, sure. Issei agreed, not really listening to the otaku spiel. Sadly enough, as they were walking, Madohama noticed it. Dude, what's up? You acting really weird. Madohama commented curiously. Nothing, man, just thinking about some things. Science-related. Again, you know me, Issei smiled, always the science enthusiast. They crossed the street, ending up on a sidewalk. The signs told them where to go again, leading down a pathway. Even as they idly chatted, Madohama talked to Issei about his interest in science. Still though, I can't imagine why you would choose all that crap instead of, well, you know. Dude, girls can wait. It's just, the interest, you know. I want to be like my gramps, though not having the exact same job. But, you know, the enthusiasm. It's just so great. Everything about it is great. Issei responded awkwardly with a scratch at the back of his head. Yeah, I guess I can kinda get that. Even if, nah, forget it. We're almost there anyway. Yeah, a couple more. Still, I can't believe this. He looked up sadly, his eyes containing that feeling. QO Youth Detention Center. A big, cold-looking mansion-like building. With gates, it looked softer than what one would expect, even fancy. But the cold feeling it attempted to bring about succeeded. They were close, near the gates. The desolate streets, some marked with graffiti on the walls and ground, gave an off-putting vibe to it. To Issei, whose enhanced eyes saw everything clearly and at a further distance, he saw the grime, the filth that was occasionally scattered about. An odd combination, a fancy-look mansion with a dirty and muck surrounding. Madohama looked a bit worried. Place is really mucked, eh, Issei? His shoulders went down and he went into a more hunched position. Meanwhile, Hayato merely kept an alarmed look. This is what surrounds us. Goshto Aang. This place looks so filthy that scrubbers would show up at any time. And is that a penis on a wall? Dude, this place really looks bad. Can't believe the. Hey, you two. Naoto? Madohama asked, confused. Clearly he heard it wrong. Issei looked beside him, seeing a blondish brown-haired individual bobbing towards them. Looking beside him, he questioningly looked at Madohama. Naoto, have you been playing Pokemon again? Yeah. Heh. Issei now knew more. Hey, I'm talking to you too. The man yelled. The hell? Yeah, okay, what's up? Issei asked politely with a smile. He didn't know the older. Now that he saw it, he actually seemed to be around 19, bar the stress lines, of course. You Hayato, are you talking to me? Asked Madohama. Are you Hayato then? No. Then shut your pee hole. Now, are you Hayato? No, I'm Hanzo, the man who will avenge his family and clan. Issei cried out, talking in a stereotypical samurai voice. What? I was watching Scorpion's Vengeance last week. What's up? Issei asked with an awkward smile. Word is, you've been touching my sister. That true, Hayato? If you knew who I was, then why ask? I was asking you a question. Oh, that. No, wait, no, I don't do that. I never do that. Issei responded furiously, I do not do that. So you callin' my baby sister a liar. And you ain't say nothing about animals and her too. No, actually, yeah, I am, because I don't do that. Issei snarked back. You got that. She's proa. She isn't a liar. Madohama merely looked on, almost fearful of what was happening. As the pervert nervously shook, Issei merely looked back irritated. Though one could not see his eyes, you could feel that they were narrowed beneath his sunglasses. All of a sudden, a punch came. Like a blur, a buff arm came at Issei's face. His eyes widened in surprise. Swoosh. Issei immediately ducked, standing up with surprise that he had managed that. In the moment, the man looked intimidating to the scrawnier teenager. I dodged that. I actually dodged that. This is insane. I'm fighting this buff karate dude in the last fight I was in. Ended horribly for me, and I don't even know how to throw a punch. He didn't have much time to think, as he needed to sidestep a straight punch. Wait a minute. Is it going in slow motion? Or is this guy just a slow hitter? Now that he had focused his eyes, he saw that it was still coming for him. With the greatest of surprising ease, he did another dodge. Issei murmured questioningly, being more curious than anything on how this was happening. Wait, this dude is trying to fight me. What am I doing? The man, whose name Issei still did not know, he stumbled forward, reeling from the hit, swinging blindly and angrily. Grab. Easily, he held the arm in a crushing grip, slowly bending it to the side. Issei barely felt anything about the guy's strength, like it was nothing compared to him. Arg. Grunting painfully, he continued, and GHH. Another one came for his head. Issei ducked under that one, and another one. Another one. Oh, will you just F-hash? Quit it. Issei snarled, annoyed. Automatically he made sure to stop this, by responding somewhat the same. K-A-D-U-N-K. Landing on his back, his jaw made a croaking sound. He landed on the floor, almost seeming to be in shock. He murmured as he rubbed his sore jaw. Man, that didn't even hurt. Issei, however, was not paying any attention at all. He only heard the thud, his shoes hitting the man's jaw, blindingly fast, for the opposite party. Issei, however, saw everything so clear. All of that so slow motion. Or did I just perceive faster? Shaking his head, he approached the fallen college student and picked him up by the collar. Look, I didn't do nor say anything to your sister. Yeah, you did. She said so. No, Issei finished this off. Look, I didn't say or do anything. Now, what's your name? Kazuto. You asshole. Dude, we can just talk this out, can't we? Even though that backflip kick felt satisfying to do. Issei let him go. So, what now, Hayato? Kazuto painfully spat out. Give me your number, we can talk this out, like normal people. And, who knows, maybe even be friends. Issei murmured the last part. I know I need some more. Everyone thinks of me as a weirdo. Friends, he grunted out, so I'm just supposed to believe you. I know about your pal and what he's done. Disgusting people like you. Looking down with an upset face, Issei said. Nothing. You know what? No, I don't care. Either accept it or not. I don't have any obligation towards you. And then, after rubbing his purple turning jaw, he walked away, stomping angrily and giving glances. What's up with him? Just started swinging his arms at me. Acting so aggressive for no reason, so stupid. Walking away, Issei looked up, befuddled but satisfied. HMH. Hit strong for such a scrawny dude. Issei heard that, and shook his head. Wait a minute. Where's Madohama? Moto, what the heck are you doing hiding behind trash cans? I can literally see you right now. I was keeping watch. So, instead of telling me the truth, you what? Hid behind a trash can, cowering in fear. Too can't believe this. I almost can't believe this. I thought you'd have my back. But instead, you know what? F this. Let's just go visit Madohama. Issei murmured tiredly, walking forward to the juvenile detention facility. Well, I guess there is a benefit. Madohama hasn't seen. Wait, did he see? Hey, you saw what happened? No, not really. I was busy. So he didn't see. Good, I don't want my powers to be common knowledge. I can't let him suspect, for sure, considering what kind of a guy he is. Who knows what could happen if the knowledge. That worries me. He looked at his open hand, closing it with a fist. He looked competitive. I used my powers to defend myself. That's good, I can't get pushed around anymore. No more name-calling, no more harassment. I can just show them their place. Slowly, an angry face came about on his face. Now, Issei, let's not get ahead of ourselves. I can't just randomly hit people, no matter how much I want to. Still, Issei was confused. How come he had seen it? Was it? When Kazuto was aiming for my head, it was so slow. Did I, as weird as it sounds, see faster or something like that? Could it be that these new eyes can perceive much greater than any other human? He saw everything, the pores, the cars that seemed like ages away, the stray cat that was walking on the fence. How does it even work? Do I need to focus or something to trigger my enhanced perception? It only happened when I panicked, maybe when I focus or something like that. Besides, that backflip kick I did, that was, and I won't lie, pretty sweet, even if it was accidental. And I barely put any power into it, I just touched his chin with my feet, and it was already turning purple. And just dodging, I didn't even mean to dodge, it just happened. Automatically. Hehe. Issei chuckled as he looked, though confused. A thought about that Kazuto prick came up, though I have a feeling that I'll see that Kazuto dude again. And what was that about his sister? I'm not like, well, and how did he even find me? Was he following us? A coincidence? I dunno. Could someone have told him? His sister maybe. Hey, Issei cried out, shocked at the yell, what's wrong with you? You're up, kid. Hey. Oh, Issei realized, I'm already here. After entering and performing all the necessary steps, like walking, he entered the building and, well, the inside wasn't welcome at all. The walls were a pasty white, coated with something filthy. Hidden eyes saw everything, the loose pipes, the open vents. They walked past the receptionist, showed their permission slip through the email they had gotten on their phone, walked up a flight of stairs. It was a bit rocky, but the whole time, he didn't really talk. He kept silent, thinking, not about his friend, who he was visiting in this place. This whole time, my powers. How do they even work? I feel strong, great, better than ever. Wall scaling, superhuman strength, super speed and superhuman agility. And now these eyes, but I can't figure out how they work. What happened to my body? Sure, I have all of this, and I love it, but damn, if only there was someone that knew about this kind of stuff. Someone that had the knowledge and that I could trust. Guess I'll have to figure it out myself. Maybe search something up, visit some places. Issei and Madohama took a seat at the orange table in the gray visiting room. Few people were there, but they were mostly, if not all, parents who were visiting their child. When is he? The door opened to find the youth, Matsuda, walking over towards them. Almost run walking due to his excitement. You guys, you came. Issei chuckled, of course we came. You're my pal. Yeah, bro, we'd of course come. Madohama replied eagerly to his friend, what kind of bro would I be if I didn't come? A crappier one. Though, I guess you aren't my BFF, or something like that. Dang, that sounds pathetic. HMH. Issei hummed nonchalantly, still though, how is it here? Does it smell like a rotten banana thrown in a sewer pipe like I thought? That is a very odd description. But, no, doesn't really smell like anything here. Weirdo. Matsuda chuckled in an almost carefree manner, which muffled Issei. Besides, why are you wearing those sunglasses? You look like a wannabe Casanova. Cause I have lizard eyes. What? You know what? Forget I said anything. Anyway, all things considered, how are you, Madohama? Crap, but, well, it was totally worth it. Matsuda ended with a titanic grin. You should have felt those knockers, man. So big and soft. It was amazing. What? Issei interrupted their talk. Could you please explain what you mean? What do you mean? Yeah, you heard the guy, Issei. Who I can only imagine how it must have felt. Madohama added, surprised at Issei's expression. Issei murmured something, it was under his breath. He seemed upset and shocked by his expression. Are you two actually serious? Like, you're not making some crappy joke in front of all these people? Why not? All I got was a week in some community, sir. You are actually % serious. Like, you're not joking. You actually think this was worth it? Issei started getting angry at the attitude of his friend. You don't mean that you actually think it was worth it? Boom, yeah, I'd do it again in a heartbeat. You'd molest someone again as long as you get this type of a punishment. Both of you, unbelievable idiots. Issei angrily replied, Matsuda, you lost your damn future and place at Kyo because of a stupid decision. And you're both. Issei shook his head, they seemed genuine in their reactions. And the fact that it were both his friends who were acting like this, people whom he cared for, who I knew since childhood. They are acting like this. I can't be like this. In a juvie center with my future robbed from me. Then I won't be like my grandpa, the one who I want to be like the most. Then I won't be a scientist. Issei had dreams other than becoming some kind of Casanova with beautiful women surrounding him. Stupidity, seeing his life now. He was in no position to gain what he had wanted, so it had to take a backseat. Issei shook his head, frustrated to the brim. He looked at their faces and noticed bewilderment. Your parents haven't even visited you from what I know. And this is what you want to do with your life. I won't end up like this. With my powers and smarts, I can do whatever I want. Issei thought nastily, although brought to surface due to his anger. He looked at them and shook his head, trying to alleviate the anger in whatever way he could. He saw that they were just as upset and befuddled as him and his anger. He didn't even look at his two friends as he stood up and stomped off angrily. Gotta cool my head. Great seeing you guys, but I gotta head home. He almost snarled, but he managed to keep the frustration somewhat hidden. He raced out, checked out and ran outside. A cool breeze greeted the teenager as he ran off. His sneakers went against the pavement as he found some walls near a barren neighborhood, loosely connected to the rest of his city. It was the wall of a small apartment complex. The hooks from his hands and feet popped out and he used them to run up the wall. Issei ran up the wall, running immediately, looking for a way home, and he decided to go through the rooftops. Eventually, he reached the top and in the far distance saw his neighborhood quite a far distance away. GRMGMM. He rumbled, stupid, both of them. He saw a big gap through buildings, which he jumped easily, landing without fail or harm. What the $? Is wrong with those two, acting so stupid? Stupid, well, at the very least I'm not like them. Come on, Issei, calm down. It's not worth it, Issei murmured, taking deep breaths as he did a somersault over some pipes. A feat of easy agility as he ran over some shaky ceilings. No, think about something more worthwhile. Funny. I don't know what to think. I know barely a thing about my powers. I really should, if I have the time, to do some research on human mutations. Or toxins, even. But search a professional. Issei jumped to a wall from another building, jumping quite the distance. He scaled the wall. Maybe I'm the one being stupid, maybe I should reel those two in. And you know what? They're not my problem. I already saved Motohama's behind from getting arrested from almost doing something just as stupid. Grabbing a ledge, he easily pulled himself up. Besides, I have more pressing matters. My powers, and things like that. He did a frontward somersault over an alley, easily climbing the vertical surface in front of him due to his wall scaling ability. His feet and hands hit the off-putting texture and mixed and matched paint of the wall. He then jumped over a gap, landing on a wall. Then he fell. Why did the hooks have to go away again? Not a GAIIN. Location, Hayatu household. Walking home, Issei was greeted with the familiar grass and lantern poles. Things like this, small places, big enough to be considered a city, yet small enough to have some sort of a. He really couldn't think of the words, but, who cares? It's not like someone listens towards his inner monologues. Oh, my arm. Going behind his home, he made sure none of his parents saw him. He then jumped about a story high and entered through the window. The familiar sight of his room greeted him once more. The gray and chrome blue wallpaper was a pleasant sight towards his eyes. Photos and pinned-up articles were there, school necessities strewn about. And, did I lock my door? Yeah, I must have. Mom, Dad, yeah, nothing, absolutely nothing, Mom. Sure, son, he suddenly heard the voice of his dad. Actually, could you come down? We need to talk. Sure do, Issei casually said. Oh, by the way, has the book been delivered yet? The enzyme one. Yeah, no, sorry. It's all right, Dad, Issei said, having more pressing matters on his mind than a book. He opened and closed his room door, quickly walking downstairs. Past the family pictures. He came to the sight of his parents, old guys that they were. What's up a doodle-do? Issei said casually. Issei, sorry about this morning. We just got worried, His dad told him. No problem, Dad, Issei said politely. It's understandable. And besides, I'm really sorry for worrying you too. Anyway, his dad spoke for his mom and himself. What happened? Why were you out all night? Do anything weird? Do you hang with unsavory people? His mom hastily added. What? No, nothing like that. It's just, things. Issei stuttered awkwardly. Just things. Nothing bad. Just things. What do you mean, just things? Too dunno. Issei murmured underneath his breath. An expression came over his parents' faces. Then, his mom went over to the fridge. Issei looked curiously. Since you missed breakfast, well, I decided to make you some. His mom said to him. Hey, I did most of the work, Goro remarked quickly. Yes, he did do that. So I'm sorry if it tastes like crap. Issei chuckled at that. Well, my crap still tastes better than your best meals. Goro shot back to his wife. Why yo, sorry. He chuckled. Issei laughed. Well, seems I have today to thank. But dang, has it been a roller coaster of a day. Testing my powers, visiting those two, getting assaulted, then flipping the tables on that Kazuto prick. Still, what am I going to do now? And Issei, please take a shower. You smell like doo-doo water. Taking a shower it is then. And, oh crap, I have to take the microscope back and all of the equipment too. Come on, stop wincing so much. I'm trying to, not my fault he kicks so hard. And that ice bag is too cold. Baby, still though, are you okay? Like, really okay? Sure, course I am, sis. Why else would I not be the greatest brother alive? Your entire jaw is purple though, the very bad kind. I'll get some antibio. Don't, you know how those two are. They don't care. About me, about us. But I care about you. Does it? Does it hurt to talk? A lot, like, really. Feels like I might cry any moment now. Yep, super hurts. Too honestly can't figure out if you're serious, big bro. Ahaha, still though, that kid. Found him by chance, really, I did. And I recognized him from the photo you showed me. Still, he hurt you, badly. And do what? A backflip kick. I've seen him sweating so much from even talking. Guess you saw wrong. He hurt you, and all I wanted was payback. Maybe I shouldn't have said anything. Nor send you off against him regardless if they groped my FR. No, it's okay, he and those pals of his will pay for what they've done. It's not over yet. Not by a long shot. And, finally, the restraints. Check. Good. Prep the subject. Grabbing a mug of coffee, he slowly drank it. Busy day. Indeed, it has been. My apologies for asking, sir. But is it really a good idea to use an incomplete formula for testing? Since you are but a mere boy, let me explain it to you in as simple terms as I possibly can. Test formula, see effects, remove errors, improve formula till completed. Understand? Yes, sir. Looking confident and as smug as he can possibly be, he voiced these next words aloud, as expected. And the animal testing stage is over. We're moving on to bigger and better things for our kind. But, weren't we supposed to recreate it and sell it to our employee? Silence was strictly said. Monetary income is, nonetheless, monetary income. No matter how we sell it or how weak we make the final product. Someone like you shouldn't be bothered with it. We're ready. Initiating RCNDVLS testing stage. Permission granted to continue. Aloud, I'll be there shortly to watch over the prototype. Was shot back quickly, and you, get back to work that actually matters. Putting the coffee mug down, he smiled nastily. His eyes open ever so slightly. HMF. My intellectual superiority always gets results. NYAGHHH. Luckily, this entire laboratory was completely soundproofed, which stopped the agony-filled scream. TCH, I told them to wait. He snarled venomously, incompetent buffoons. What's that thing? I dunno. Some reptile thing, I guess. Found it on the street somewhere, twitching and barely crawling. I cleaned it up. And look at it. Just see. ISIS, it's squirming. Gross, throw it away. And why is it so red? A crimson reptile. With a stinger. What do you want me to do with it anyway? We're garbage men. Throw it in the furnace with all the other trash. Throwing it in the furnace, it burnt. Burnt till it became black. Burning until all that was left was ashes. QO Academy. It's been some time ago since I last got my powers. And they're still there. Amazing. And school starting again. A damn shame. Stupid school, even more stupid people. He stood alone again. Even after the little fallout he had with his buddies. He stood next to green grass. It's weird how spotless everything is. Really clean. What kind of cleaners does QO Academy even have? Underneath his thickly shaded sunglasses, his reptilian eyes scoured the somewhat familiar location. The rain had just left, leaving the sun to weakly shine through the dark clouds. It had hit a lot of people, especially Issei, who had seen the rain fall, each drop in almost perfect detail. Though I couldn't focus on everything, I saw at all the contents the drops hitting. My focus made it seem so slow. Nonetheless, Issei was once again forced to attend this damned as the sun shined against the wet white walls of QO Academy. He never liked the school uniform he was forced to wear, he never did. Well, if only the school would allow alternate choices to be made. Aha, that was just a fantasy. Checking his phone, he noticed that he had a couple of minutes until class started. His parents laid off on what happened, things were going decent. But this heck hole was still there, so that was that. The students made special way, giving him his space. The usual got it's him, look at the weirdo and leave him alone, he's so quiet, total nerd mode ever since he came here. Yug, since those words were usually said about him by those people. Even now at this very moment. Even if he made those sentences in a weirdo voice. Special VIP treatment, great. At least people aren't throwing things at my head anymore. God, and most of it came out of nowhere too. Well, at least I had those losers have it secretly, of course, Muahaha. I gotta work on my evil bad guy laugh. Not enough evil in it, and I had my own voice rack inside my head. How is that even possible? Hey, is your uncle back? He heard someone whisper, strange considering the individual. Oh no. Issei raised an eyebrow at their little conversation. Something about this interested him. The manner in which they spoke was very hushed and secretive. Really? I mean, disappearing at the job. Who does that? People who really hate their office jobs, of course. I dunno, just working and then gone. No clue wherever he is and no message. Girl, is that the norm? Actually no, he was a really sweet uncle, always around. The conversation got a bit sadder, and Issei. That's a shame, I hope the police find her uncle soon. Hayaudu, a random voice said, not belonging to the girls. But Issei was too focused on their conversation. The girls' conversation continued. You know what? Let's go out later at a cafe or something. I'd like that. Hayaudu. He said in surprise, totally caught off guard. The superpowered teenager noticed who was in front of him. Yes ma'am. Issei responded politely as he was almost about to enter the school. Looking beside him, he noticed a teacher dressed in a modest black blouse. Her high heels tapped the floor as she gave him a strict look. Behind Hai. Oh my, he has huge full caps on the huge part. The heck? Issei had to look up to see the man beside her. He was at least 2 heads taller than him and casted a literal shadow over Issei. Wearing the school security apparel, Issei looked on wide-eyed underneath his sunglasses. Oh crap, were you on school grounds yesterday? Was quickly said by the middle-aged woman. No. Both looked entirely unconvinced. Sighing, his teacher quickly replied, Hayaudu, please see me in my office. Follow both of us. I have class, so I promise this'll take up very little of your time. Okay. Issei sat in the office, awkwardly scratching the nape of his neck. So what's the problem? Sitting at the other end of the desk was the teacher, whose name Issei did not remember. In the mustard-yellow room without any decoration, she narrowed her eyes, along with the security guard. Huge, his poor wife. Mr. Hayaudu, our security guard here, Kyudai, claims that he has seen someone with a frighteningly strong resemblance to a thief who busted down one of our doors while breaking and entering. Oh, that sucks. Issei said slowly, what the heck was that? Am I really that crappy of a liar? Though there was no official proof, we did notice a certain piece of equipment missing. Indeed, the security guard muttered, and even attempted to assault me when I attempted to stop him. But it didn't work. I managed to easily dominate him, but he managed to squirm away. Issei deadpanned. That's not what happened at all. I pushed you aside like you were barely anything. Deciding to not voice his thoughts aloud, he silently disapproved of the black-haired security guard's fake boasting. It temporary. Yes ma'am, Issei hastily answered, inwardly screaming at himself for his poor acting abilities. Well, with the missing equipment and security footage along with Kyoudai's words, we have proof that you stole school property, was said calmly by the woman. What? No imp possible. I made sure to dodge every security camera and not of my face be seen. Issei looked up underneath his shades. His eyes were hidden, and luckily they had not requested for him to take them off yet. They seem like they're expecting a reaction. Okay Issei, play it cool. Remember the undercover cop movies. Edo Padum. Say something. No, Issei suddenly remarked, seeming dismissive. No what? Not me, like really not me. Nope, Issei retorted. And even if you do have security footage, where is the idea that it's me? And plus, how would I even be able to get into the school? You all lock the doors, don't ya? If not, incompetency through the roof. So please show me this proof. The added snarkiness had a baffling effect considering he used to be so quiet most of the time. You're right, we don't have proof. But Kyoudai has recognized your back as very similar to the intruders. Still not me. Proof, definitive proof. Issei managed to actually act. Baffling. I can act. The missing equipment that was stolen then, kid, Kyoudai remarked. You probably just didn't see it was still there. Issei threw his head back. Now can you guys stop this interrogation? It's gone, kid. Teacher, do you know for sure if he's correct? Have you seen it with your own eyes? Issei quickly shot back. I can't believe I'm actually doing this. A bit further and they won't suspect a thing. She trailed off. I'll be back soon. Quickly she left, and that left our superpowered youth with the titan of a security guard. What's up? Issei said. Nothing. Okay, great conversation Issei, you really have charisma, he berated himself. Suddenly the door clicked open, and an angry woman, the teacher from before, suddenly entered. Smiling sickeningly, she politely asked, Hayao, can you please wait outside for a few minutes? Of course, miss, Issei responded, almost as polite. He got up from his seat and went to the wooden door, opened it, and left. While waiting outside, he heard through the walls pieces of a conversation. Leaning back, he pretended to relax while secretly listening. Managing to catch pieces of the conversation, he raised an eyebrow. Can you explain to me why the microscope and equipment was still there? What do you mean? It is still there, you buffoon. Issei muffled his chuckles. This is priceless. We took you on because we felt pity at the fact that you didn't even have a diploma. Then you report something false. What do you mean? What about the busted down door? Wear and tear could have also explained it. You know how rowdy teenagers are. You could have just not noticed it. This is your first warning. Be sure before you accuse a teenager of a crime. He's only 14. Boo, but, phew, Issei sighed in relief, relaxing his tense arms. His eyes underneath his sunglasses showed relief. Golly, out of the corner of his emerald eyes he noticed a couple passing by. Don't talk to him, was advised to their supposed significant other. HMH, not like I was planning to. He's like a 30-year-old nerd trying to be hip with how he walks. But I mean, he just says the weirdest things. Like cripes or golly. Who the hell does that? You know, he's just been in total geek mode ever since he got here. A soft snicker followed. What's up with that? No clue, just stay away from the guy. Even as they walked, he still heard their conversation as clear as day. With a scowl on his face, he remembered that time. Sigh, is that it? Am I just unlikable? Was hanging in the air. Too weird to like. That's the big whoop. I'm a weirdo, geek or nerd, whatever. People these days. Who cares what some random teenagers have to say? It seems like his teacher was finally done with the discussion, berating the hulking man. My apologies for holding you up, Hayao. Here's a permission slip for being late, the teacher told him. Golly, thanks. That didn't seem to take long at all, he snarked before shaking his head. She was just doing her job, trying to catch him for something he did commit. Hey, I dodged a bullet. Luckily I snuck back in here, hid my face, and put everything back where it was. And it seems I got a bit of luck too. But luckily no one gets a bad end. That's a relief at least. Now, what class do I have? And I should start thinking about what I should do after school. Location, class. The interaction in the video that I have just showed you is one of the many pieces of evidence of behavioral changes that come with influence on our brains. Our brains make us. And our body too, of course. The professor spoke loudly and clearly. She waved in front of his desk where there laid a rat and another one. They both seemed to be doing all right, though their teeth were oddly sharp. They looked different. You see, class, everything can change due to outside circumstances. These rats, for example, lived a very different life to yours. And had very different things happen to them, she said calmly. Even now in today's world, countries and scientists mess with the DNA of animals like they're building blocks from kids' toys. And that is just what happens. The same being, but well, we can't classify them as their original species now, no. Miss, a woman interrupted. What does this have to do with class? Is it some sort of explanation? Is it going to be on a test? Issei stared intently. This lecture is fascinating, really it is. And well, she is well, you know, very pretty. Issei commented about the teacher inside his head. Homework to be correct. You are all going to write a small paper about outside influences and how they can affect you or anything else, so long as it is alive, of course, she said calmly. It happens to all of us, whether they're lab experiments like these which I'll keep around for later, or well, anything relating to the subject. TRRIINNNGG. And that's it for today's class. Remember to contact me if you have any questions or worries. The students quickly went out of the room making conversations about how happy they were to finally be done with something as boring as this. Sometimes I feel as if I live in another world. But a positive is that for some reason or miracle no one tried to pull anything on me. Besides, what kind of an insult is due head? And why just scream it suddenly? All I want to say is that I saw every one of her movies. She's a damn legend. Issei overheard someone say, "Yeah, wait, you saw every movie with her in it. OMG, you love her, don't ya? And you even have a girlfriend?" She joked. "Babe, like you know I'd never." "Hey, the $sign are you looking at?" Looking beside himself, he pointed at himself. "Me, dude, the $sign are you looking at? The air, the wall paint, red, green. The hell are you going on about?" "Nothing, I'm not doing anything." "Then stop looking this way and mind your own damn business." "No reason to be so dang rude, I just overheard you. Heck, maybe I can add heightened senses or something to my power list. And besides, I wasn't even focusing on you. It happened unintentionally. I could tear of your arm, you know. And maybe I'd do it too. I'm not serious about tearing off his arm, in case you have to know. They have looked that I have such a good heart, really they do." He shook that thought. "Keep calm and just mind your own business, Issei." "Then mind your damn business." "Oh great, the girlfriend. Well, we are in an almost empty classroom." Luckily he is softly shouting. "Wait, can people like softly shout even? Is that something real? You two leave." "No," the teacher said sternly, her voice low and threatening. Fine then, come on babe. Let's just leave this weirdo." "Great," Issei snarked. "Creativity must be a plus on your end. Finally a redeemable quality. Only one perhaps." "A great one maybe. I should do stand up." "Nah, I can't tell jokes for my life." "You lit. Now go," the teacher said as sternly as she could. Issei merely looked surprised. "Wow, this is legendary. First she doesn't insult me, then she stands up for me. Wow. Now Mr. Hayato, I see you aren't preparing to leave." "Why is that?" she asked calmly. "Besides throwing comebacks at your fellow students." "Because while I have seen your grades, I have seen your IQ scores. You aren't that scary smart that you can act like that," she told Issei, who scratched the back of his head awkwardly. She sounded very stern. "That UJHKADUNK." Without Issei noticing, a book was thrown at his head. He heard footsteps quickly bolting off at amazing speeds, running away while giggling, male and female. "Oh, a biology book. Damn, I always knew biology hurts. Books, why not a box of candy? Or something delicious? Damn, guess those pricks had the last laugh. Even with powers I still got hit in the head. Welp, didn't help that I wasn't even looking at them. A dumb mistake I'll be sure not to repeat, especially not to those two bozos. Anyhow, it isn't about what you might think it is. I just have a habit of saying weird stuff when I'm surprised. Like aw. Do you have some time, miss?" Issei regained his composure quickly, in truth failing somewhat. "Why am I not a people person? Of course, anything for a student of mine." She now told him pleasantly. An inviting air was around her, one that made him feel almost comfortable. Almost, but he didn't really have that. He had too many questions in his head and he kinda wanted to know about them. Now, to not make it look suspicious. "You see, the lecture you gave about outside interference affecting the state of a living organism was very interesting and quite insightful. But I have questions. Those animals you just showed to the class, you said they were tested on. How so?" Lab tests make up the usual. It still happens today, and well, that can change things about these rats." She waved and led him to her desk. "Like what specifically?" Issei asked curiously. "Is it on a genetic level? The DNA itself? Or is it just due to behavior?" "Why are you asking me this? I know for a fact that you've never been interested in behavior and genetics before." "Why the sudden curiosity?" she asked, the edges of her lips curling up. "My cause. Quick, think of something, anything. I saw it on the news and it caught my attention. And well, besides the fact that it's our homework." "Touche. Yes, anyway, what is so special about these rats that you have?" "Nothing much, Hayato." She cocked her head to the side. "Actually, I was planning on having a lecture about these things, considering that I study them in private. But time flies and self-study I am pretty jealous of that. At home we don't have much money to spare. Anyway, I'm just going to use them for something else then, I guess." She shrugged. "But anyway, what do you need?" Yes. Back to the subject at hand. Can like animals change on a genetic level? In a purely beneficial manner, of course. Issei made a good attempt at making it sound purely studious, but couldn't stop his eagerness and immense curiosity from slipping through. "Like," Issei continued, "can animals change genetically due to something outside? Besides just like makeup tests? Like those, they're products of their environment, right? Can something change about an animal so that they change on a genetic level in their blood?" "Crap, I'm making no sense, am I?" "Not really," she admitted. "Look, I don't know much about biology besides the necessary parts. I want to know about genetics, if they can be modified. If outside interference in their genetics, DNA and all of that can be altered. Can you please tell me what you know?" "Yes," she admitted. She looked down a bit, staring for a bit at the lab animal. Why was he so curious and not the normal kind? Really? Yes, but something as advanced as humans is a no-go," his teacher told him casually. "Why are you making that face?" Nothing. Issei shook his head. "I can't believe it. Maybe I'm a bit closer to how my powers work now. This'll be sweet." Well, like how can it not work in humans? Because I have powers now from some scaly reptile with a tail. Injected its toxin into me and gave me those powers. You know, hooky hands, superpowered body, and maybe something else. I'm living proof that it can happen even by accident. So what's up with that? Well, Issei, despite what you think, the most important part is that for safety, ethical, and of course social reasons, there is broad agreement among many scientists, ethicists, policymakers, and the public that germline editing is a red line that should not ever be crossed. She sighed but told him seriously, Miss Nakamura, why is it bad even? This, well, the talk of my life. So wordy HM. Well, I can go into detail, but to tell you the truth, I have no clue. She admitted with a shrug. Oh, Issei said in a casual, surprised manner. Something which was weird to see. He had an odd, perplexed facial expression. Don't look like that. See, besides the basics, I barely have any knowledge of the subject of germline editing. But don't ever cross it, and time's up. Apologies, Hayatu. If you have any questions about the schoolwork, you can always contact me through email though. Look, if you're really curious, search up some papers released by a scientist named Ajuka. He's very pro germline editing, so don't expect to see anything normal. I'd say that might just be your best bet. She sighed as she was packing up her personal belongings. Go down to the library, then head to a bridge near the edges of Kuo where the McDonald's is and head over there. There you'll find a big neon sign, and across from that a library. Just search up Ajuka. They have everything science-related archived there. Even the old magazine exclusive papers and interviews. Damn, that's a far walk, but I guess I can do it. I'll be doing it after school though. Yeah, and be sure to leave as fast as you can. That highway is constantly busy and loud. You can hear it from a block away. Yeah, why, oh my god. What the is this? Issei and Miss Nakamura cried out. Both were too enveloped in their student-teacher conversation that neither noticed the blood starting to spill. The small sounds of scattering animals. KRGGTRWWW. KRGGTTHH. The rat made a low hissing sound as it was biting the skin off of the other lab rat. Blood started spilling in the container. Like a dripping faucet. They're tearing each other apart, Issei remarked, horrified. His eyes were wide underneath his sunglasses and his mouth agape. Issei saw in shock as the ferocious rat wildly tore into its companion. Blood splattered quickly, dripping down on the plastic container. Then he thought of, what the hash? What the hell is happening? Crap, she murmured hurriedly. Hayatu, I actually don't know what to do. Haha, great. You don't know what to do. What the hell do you mean with that? Precisely what I just said. They're tearing into each other. Then it had ended, and not in the peaceful way. Gory and brutal. And Issei stood wide eyes underneath his sunglasses. Well, they're dead now. I can see that. Issei deadpan. Two rats killing each other. I'm less fazed by that than I thought I would be. Am I just surprised? Haha, who am I kidding? I might just be nuttier than a sack of nuts. Look at all that blood. That thing looks like a wild animal. Wow, so, that's a surprise, ain't it? Yeah, tomato. What? Nothing. A small moment of silence was present for the sight both had just witnessed. Issei stared at the container, perplexed and shocked for that moment, before he tried to regain his cool. UMSO. Issei scratched the back of his head. I'm very sorry for that, Issei. Miss Nakamura looked down tiredly and apologetically. Someone so young shouldn't have seen that. Well, I don't know what say. Besides the fact that this is morbidly fascinating, and I'm just shocked. Things happen. No need to make a fuss about it. There was ease in which he told his half-truth. This is not that frightening, just like. Issei reassured himself in an attempt to not feel so horrified at the sight. And with his enhanced eyesight he saw well everything about the scene. I'm okay, well, maybe traumatized. But in life, how do you get through without a bit of trauma to spice things up? Issei said in a faux cheerful tone, shrugging his shoulders. It's not like my favorite chicken just exploded in front of me. Nope, they just died. Those rats. Blood everywhere. So ugly. So morbid, guts splattered around. I'm sorry. It's just that the older teacher chuckled cynically and darkly as she grabbed the container now filled with dead rats. Grim rats, really. Tortured and experimented on. You have to imagine labs. Why is this so interesting? Morbidly interesting. I'm so sorry. Things are just environments. They can change these living beings, make them act like this. Do horrible things all because of the pain. Their experiences can turn them rabid. Issei gulped before he shook his head. Crap, I have places to be. Kuo streets. Finally done for today. Phew, but so many things to do. I've been so busy experimenting with my new powers, and not to mention that class. I still have goosebumps. He had excitedly ran out. Since he did not have his favorite class, he got the F up out of there. Currently though, he had a change of clothes. A crimson hoodie that was kept underneath a black jacket, his brown hair a bit messy, and dark blue pants almost brother to black. I am free for now. But the bad weather was back at it again, and as his brown bangs shook ever so slightly at his face of disapproval directed at the clouds, then it started raining. Luckily Issei had an idea from earlier. Since the bridge was so wild and noisy, why not go under it using his surface scaling abilities? He'd be able to go that much faster underneath and then getting caught up in all the traffic and ending up home late. Again, now that his parents were back in his head, he thought about his little excuse he came up with. Still, this makes me think about what happened a couple days ago. Even I find it weird. Do they just trust me? Do they have some kind of a reverse psychology thing going on? HMH. Like, are they going hoping that by repeatedly saying that I don't have to tell them that I'd feel guilty and tell them? What do I even say? Mom, Dad, some weird reptilian creature with scales injected me with its biological toxin. It did crap to my genetics and DNA, so yeah, that's why I passed out. Please don't throw me away. Pretty please with 3 cherries on top. MHMM. No, that's just stupid. I should just keep this to myself. Who knows what they're gonna do? Flip out. Throw me away. Maybe not. They're still my parents. Would things get different though, more cold and distant from me? He shrugged. Best to wait just a minute. Do I hear voices? He looked up baffled. Since he was taking a small walk, he didn't stray that far. Just heading to the library. Despite the wonders of the internet, those archives in the computers should make things much easier. Maybe a professor. MHMM. Where the heck are those sounds coming from? Immediately he turned to the right. On one of the walls, shifted around 30 degrees, was a small. His feet hit the mudded pavement, his eyes focused on it. Even as the annoying cars made their sounds, he still heard it. It was very loud and busy. Can you MHMMH a bit louder? Again. I don't know if you're in danger or not, Issei yelled. Got that. Hello. He ran over to it, noticing some kind of a thick manhole cover. But not the classic kind, it was metallic gray. Sealed tight, real tight. Issei gave a slight tug at it, finding it to be sealed tight, very tight. Wait a minute. What are those things that are keeping it shut? Doesn't seem like it's from any normal material. I can't even recognize it. Firmly planting his fingers on the thing, he put some more effort into it. Cling. With a fierce swing, he pulled it so hard the surface which he pulled on fully swung with enough force to make a dent in the material beside it. MHMMH. Opening it, Issei saw a mess. What is this? Someone hired a horrible worker to design this decor. Issei commented to himself, glancing around. The ground was made out of cement, strangely enough. What a mess, and that's dirt. And footprint seems like something a human made. Not. Hello? Can anyone MHMM again? Like really hard? Issei yelled. No. Weird. MHMM. There it is. Hang on, I'll be right there. It was muddy, wet papers scattered around everywhere. Issei hastily made his way over them. Great place, they have real killer closed-in spaces, crappy desks, and a grated floor covering muddy crap. 8/10 I'd give the designer. Has to work on the aesthetics some more, Issei thought sarcastically. Yuog. Issei just narrowly avoided stepping onto a puddle of green goo. It was disgusting, as was the smell, though there was something odd about it. Red as that, no blood. And it smelled like burnt hair, tickling his nose in a very uncomfortable manner. He hastily made his way around a corner. Busted open pipes that were stuck to the ceiling had nothing in them, and Issei saw everything in there. Enhanced vision. God, this place is a sore sight to look at. Someone pooped this out of their crappy fantasy. In the end, Issei walked into a hallway. Soft creaking of metal grates underneath his feet didn't sound too pleasant. What the? Issei sounded surprised. Grate, no door. Just huge chunks of metal blocking it off. Great. Even now he heard very distant murmuring. Sounds like they are not happy to be in a place like this. Really can't see why. The doorway was blocked with heaps of metal bars, metal boxes, and metal bars. It was really thick and put together with thought in mind. Though a door would have just been better. A lot better, even if it had the same sharp scratches. This place is really small now that I think about it. And there are even air holes. MMHMHM. Right, I'm coming. Super strength, do your thing. KRAASSH. The sound of metal getting kicked away, busted open, were launched. And, what the, by all things, Issei whispered, almost afraid. What the $sign is this? The walls blood red, dried. Red like roses. Blood red. People held together, blindfolds. Crying. Struggling like captured wild mutts. Wild papers, red symbols. Scratches in the wall. Not human, something else. MFMMGMGMM. Hang on, I'll get you loose. He put on a bravado, but he didn't like what he saw. They were tied using some organic material. So tight that it seemed to make them bleed. The skin was probably very damaged. No, definitely. They wore blouses torn open. By God, a few of them were there, and one even wore a janitor uniform. Stomach bloody, though no tag to be seen anywhere. Cuts, no paper. Delicate then, like torn paper on the skin, rough and yanking. Cling, clack, clack. Something above him, the grates. A shadow, one he could barely see even with his eyes. Cling, clang. Someone lurking from above. Creaking slow, then fast. Again and again. Eerie nose, too uncomfortable. Behind me I hear footsteps. MHMMHMHHHM. He had to make a decision quick. Issei immediately turned around. Hi, why you sick $? What the hell is this? K Kazuto. What the heck are you doing here? Why you I must have done this yabug bastard. Though Kazuto seemed to be shaken up, he attempted to put on a bravado. The blood was something new to him, odd, and his jaw was healing up, it seemed. Just some purple spots left. He held his phone forward, flashlight mode activated. Wait, but then what was that above me? You, shut your pee hole, Issei suddenly shouted. His feeling of uneasiness was starting to get to him. Something is up. I have no clue. Wait, he followed me and I didn't notice. The hell, I have to pay more attention. I don't have time for this. Help me get them loose. If it wasn't for the sense of urgency and the sounds Issei kept hearing above them. Clitter clatter. Hiss. Issei ignored Kazuto and with a sense of urgency tried to cut these people loose. They were all strapped on tables. Kazuto just stood there, the older boy that Issei barely gave a damn about. Lo Kai Lo Nyan. just as he was going to untie one of them. CKRASHSHH. Ugog. HHH. Caught by complete surprise, grates above them suddenly broke, shattered into nothing. Issei was hit with enough force that caught him by surprise as he fell down to the ground. It didn't help that he was his on the head as well. The older boy screeched he was terrified. The hairs, the legs, the multiple eyes red and emotionless. Yuma. He was on the verge of crying. Kazuto was panicking and crying out of fear he couldn't understand. Not in these shadows, MHM. He was quivering, shaking like some frightened child in the pitch dark. Oh, that hurts, Issei grunted. XZNKGRIU. Hi there, Issei grunted, then his eyes widened at what he saw. What held Kazuto up and made the older boy quiver like a frightened child. Would you? Oh crap, Issei almost quivered. But perhaps due to the shock of it all he remained silent with his eyes wide. I am so scared I can't even finish my introduction to that thing. Hi, Issei squeaked, put off by the thing. He crouched down a bit more. But even he could barely make out what this thing was, with the hairy legs looking like legs of a caterpillar. The back where he saw scales and messy black hair like a curtain but spotty. K9 lokai lo nyan. Nyan zin. Inhuman, the only thing he could think of. Clouded in shadows, its raspy female baritone sounded almost. No, I don't know what's happening, but crying isn't going to solve anything. Beside, damn, I can't even see all of you and I know you're ugly. Issei responded quickly, doing his best to distract the thing with whatever his panicking mind could come up with. And before he could even react or even register what was happening, he was picked up and launched across the room. KADUNK, GRGHO. This time though, Issei managed to stop one thing. She lunged at him, something that resembled a hand attempting to strangle him. He kicked his legs futility and reached up to whatever was on top of him and did not manage to push it away. His hooks came out on reflex. They dug into it and forced oddly colored blood out. I can't get this thing off of me. If only I was a bit stronger. And GHH, Issei grunted, and with a small surge of sudden strength suddenly awakening, he pushed the vaguely humanoid creature off of him. KADUNK. It hit a table, making a man fall of. Issei winced at the man's scream. Blindfolded and gagged, his slitted eyes didn't like the sight before them, and the sudden boost of strength started to feel weaker by the moment. But the thing, still out to get my head. And what was that just now? I could barely hold that thing at bay and suddenly I get a boost of strength. It sneered, the vocals coming out as if it came through a distorter. Jai lo nyan. He kicked it off of him. It turned back. Issei, regaining himself, didn't have the focus necessary to chase whatever the hell that thing was. Sorry, you mutated creep, I don't like my dates being monsters. Issei spat out, grunting from the pain coming from his side. It's on my Tinder bio, you know. He snarked painfully. Tao fang kai ggggx fang nyan. It screeched so loudly that his eardrums felt like they might burst. But it suddenly jumped up and ran away, going through a small passage in the walls. What the is happening in my life? That thing scratching those walls, the hash times the hell. Issei quickly stood up, his sunglasses fallen. Somewhere behind him was a crack in the wall. He held his stomach where he got pushed with quite the force. Kazuto was knocked out, a terrified expression on his face. Issei breathed shakily, walked over to the people held on the tables. He quivered, terrified, relieved like the light just. Ha. Issei shakily laughed at what just happened. Ha, that just happened, really? Ha. He tore restraint off. Oh boy. Hayatu household several hours later. Honey, the door was creaking again. That's the natural part of doors. Sometimes they creak, sometimes they don't. Goru, it was Issei who tried to fix the door with you. Issei, you know how he is, he's just not that much of a handyman. More the brainy type, it's something we both know. And it's becoming very late. He texted us that he should be back around this time. Well, do you think that Issei's going to pull that again? Stay out the entire night? Well, even though I don't really believe him about that time, really a 24/7 arcade that made him forget the time. Like really, am I supposed to believe that? Then why aren't you pressuring him more, Goru? Because I have faith in him, he's a smart kid. Besides, he didn't pull that shtick any other time. Pressuring him will only make him get in his shell that much more, honey. More than he already is. We just wait until he feels comfortable enough to tell us. Goru Hayatu sounded peaceful and confident. The tranquil kind. Now can I continue to watch the news? Fine, honey, but I swear you watch that bogus channel too much. Last time it was the fact that pyramids were made by aliens. And now they have a news section. You never know, Goru said with a shrug. Could be aliens. Sure, haha. Just don't mention it to Issei. Remember the rant he went off on? Sheesh, I didn't know that he had that much air in his lungs. Ranting about how stupid that channel was. Now something interesting is happening, doll. I gotta see this. Goru looked on with intrigue, opening a cold can. Meanwhile, Miki Hayatu glanced from the corner of her place. Approximately 1.5 hours ago, several individuals were found. These individuals were reported missing sometime a week ago. These individuals were bloody and severely bruised, held captive under a busy bride inside a closed abandoned space. Times. The TV showed the location near some water's muddy grass. Police and ambulance must have had it hard getting underneath that bridge. It was secured with tape with only officers the injured. Needless to say, both the interest of Goru and Miki were significantly piqued. The TV showed the image of the street sign. Those poor people, I hope they'll be alright soon, Miki said to her husband. Meanwhile, Goro held a soft look in his eyes. The TV flashed over to a middle-aged woman holding a microphone. On the screen there was a box and a series of sentences. The box contained the ones at the station, while the main focus, which was the location. Thank you. Approximately 2 hours ago, a young boy and college student, Hayato Issei. What? Issei and Fuji Kazuto. Times the screen showed an image of them both. Both young men were walking towards their destination until Hayato heard muffles coming through very tight gaps underneath one of most loud and busy streets 24/7. He and Fuji then entered a small manhole and upon entering found the kidnapped individuals. Then an altercation occurred between Hayato, Fuji, and the kidnapper. Only Fuji was harmed. Oh my god, Issei was involved in this. We have to get there now, we have to pick him up. The TV flashed to Issei Hayato, their 14-year-old son, wearing damaged sunglasses on his face. The thickly shaded glasses managed to hide the majority of his eyes. The middle part was broken, making his expression of blankness at odds with the ridiculousness of his eyewear. Would you mind introducing yourself? Sure, I'm Issei Hayato, Kyo high school student. Issei said. Mr. Hayato, what were your first thoughts since you entered the scene? Times was asked by Kaoru. Issei nodded as he sat on a foldable chair, most likely brought to him by the police. Well, I thought great place, they have real killer closed in spaces, crappy desks, and a grated floor covering muddy crap. 8/10 I'd give the designer. Has to work on the aesthetic some more. Were my thoughts, Issei answered with a seemingly snarky tone. No really, I'm serious. The reporter was wearing a befuddled expression at Issei's out-of-the-norm answer. One eyebrow raised, she talked further. Oh, okay, quite the interesting answer you have there, young man. Nonetheless, what was your encounter like? Since you have already given your testimony to the police, do you mind telling it to us and our loyal viewers at home? And how do you feel now? Sure, I was going to take a little walk. Then I heard muffles, then I entered, then I got attacked by something, then it ran away, then I called cops. That about cover it, Issei casually said. And I feel pretty damn terrified, I'm not even joking. Haha, no really, I'm pretty damn scared. So as you can see here, this young man managed to save lives from a very brutal fate. And it was a fucking monster, it was, oh me my god. A boy around college age yelled. He seemed shocked and fearful. Issei quickly turned his head around. Kazuto's eyes were wide as he laid on a stretcher near. The police who were questioning Kazuto tried to calm him down while others held the news channel at bay. It was human. For a second you could see a sympathetic expression on his face before it returned to his previous voice. Kill that thing, it wasn't human. Kazuto was immediately hushed to silence the cops, calming him down as best as they could. We'll come back later on Channel 18 News. Wait, Channel 18? Issei said, shocked. You guys have news section now? Indeed we do. It seems the local hero is a fan. Does he have any parting words he'd like to share with us? No, I'm not a fan in parting words. Channel 18 workers read too many fortune cookies, don't watch these fake guys. And that is all. Aliens didn't create the pyramid. Meanwhile at another location. Wouldn't you believe it? To think this, I really am lucky. He got up and his eyes were filled with excitement and lust. With this he would finally get it. I remember your face now. This 3 billion, that money. I might just not lose out on that job reward after all. Or worse, and all that money will still be his. Standing up from his chair, he rushed over to the corner of his room, doing numerous tricks and grabbing something hidden in his wall. Opening up a mechanical sleek black case, he quickly grabbed his equipment, bolting out of his temporary apartment. And with the moonlight shining upon him, the thief made his gambit. Hayato household. While this is great, I probably have even more trauma. First bloody rats, then this crap. Maybe I need to see a psychologist or something. Issei remarked tiredly to think. A monster, kidnapping, everything is going crazy. The entire world is, or maybe it's just my life. I've got no clue what's going to happen next to monster, haha, whatever the hell that thing was. Issei looked at the card that the officer gave him along with the number after he was done. If he knew something else or remembered something. How, like Kazuto maybe. Yeah, they didn't believe him. And besides, I never saw whatever the hell that thing was in all of its glory. Heck god, I'm a 14-year-old with superpowers and I'm already fighting monsters. More like chase them away. All I need is a stupid costume to fight crime, haha, that's insane. Like hell I'm ever going to do something like that. Everything is becoming just so crazy lately. I can barely keep up with all of this weird crap anymore. And everything is still crap. I didn't have the chance to check out the library's archives. Library's archives. Sounds like something stupid from Star Wars. Monsters, too traumatizing things. I'm not that bothered by it, strangely. Issei murmured, even though I should be. All I am is unsettled. And Kazuto, well, at least seems to know I don't kidnap people. Golly, do people think I'm really like that? No way. I might be a weirdo to them. But kidnapping? Issei chuckled bitterly. Actually, scratch that. They might think I'm a kidnapper. I've been an outcast ever since I was 8. So who cares anymore? I have superpowers now, so they can suck it. The only ones who have been halfway decent to me have been my parents and one teacher in my entire life. What the hell do I owe any other bozo then? Nothing. Entering his household, Issei Hayato found no one. Strange, he murmured, they must be asleep. Well, I hope they are at least. Hopefully Dad took my words to heart and stopped watching that stupid news channel. Walking up the stairs, Issei was deadly silent, not having much to do or think about. Well, it is late, I'll just go to my room. He opened his room's door, it creaking as usual. You must know, right? It was deadly silent. You see, I made a score. but I had to ditch my little red reptile because they were coming too close. So I memorized your face hoping to find you again. Shrouded in darkness, Issei could only make out a male muscular figure. Looking down on him, he only saw goggles reflecting his own visage, a dark olive green bodysuit, pouches and equipment, the weapon and espionage kind. He took a step, looming over the short boy. I put it in your backpack. I searched it, and I couldn't find it, so you must have it somewhere around here. And I want it back. Standing menacingly, posture hunched and looking down. Now, give it to me. Okay, sadly the chapter is over. And if you enjoyed, just leave a like and subscribe with post notification, so when the next chapter is ready, you will be notified. Okay, see you in the next video. Bye.